second.
All right, all right.
Here we go.
Hell yeah.
How's it going, sir?
What's up, buddy?
Not much.
All right, let's get the audio levels set.
Yeah, let me know if I need to change anything on this end.
Um, no, the mic sounds good. Uh, yeah. If you're gonna, so you know how these, like your mic, it's sensitive. So if you if you lean in, or try to keep it the same distance,
Yeah.
um, from yeah. So
Yep. I might adjust it every once in a while just so that I'm as I move around, it's moving with me. But I can also hear myself, so I'll be trying to make sure that I can actually keep it.
oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, good. Yeah, because a lot of people, in fact, most people that use these kind of mics, they don't know how to use them. So they'll be
Yep.
trying to show me something, they'll turn away from it, and then for like five
And now
seconds, I
they're like, I
can't hear,
can't hear them because it's over here. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
can't hear anything.
Yep. Been
So
there, done that.
yeah, me too, me
Yeah.
too. It's I've learned a lot. When you edit your own videos, man, it,
Oh
it
yeah.
really makes a difference. You understand
Yep.
some of these things, and this is we used. For our unboxings and stuff, instead of using the audio from the camera or the phone or whatever, we had the little recorders with that lavalier mic
Yeah.
that we would hook on.
Yeah.
It made a huge difference with the audio. And
Oh yeah. When you get the mic right here, it's a game changer, like instantly.
right,
Yeah.
big time. I'm actually looking. I saw this podcast yesterday. Speaking of headset mics or whatever. Now this one is really cheap. It's a Logitech, just
Oh yeah.
like $27 whatever. And it's done well. But
Yeah.
I saw these guys yesterday that have a God, I can't remember the name of the podcast, Vortex or something. But it's a
Okay.
Real Steel gun
Oh,
channel
okay.
that they do podcasts. They do a bunch of videos as well. But and they each had a really nice headset with a really nice mic. Though I've never seen it before, and the
Uh-huh.
mic looked like some of these sports
Oh, the
casters or
sportscaster
sports.
mics. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
it sounded so good.
Oh,
Uh,
honestly, if you're gonna go heads like so, I used to do headset mics because like I've been
Gotcha.
doing Twitch streaming for almost 7 years. So like I've gone through everything from um um Turtle Beach headsets that
Mm,
are just mics are just atrociously bad, all the way up
mm-hmm.
to my Shure mic here. And so I've run the gambit and I've tried everything. But if you're ever gonna go headset mic, that's the mic to go with because those things are basically this on a little boom.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're really
Yeah.
nice. I've wanted to try one, but then I look at the price tag and go, I need to make a car payment this month, so maybe not.
Well, I haven't. I just saw it yesterday, and I haven't looked up. Done any research. So I never looked up. Like, what do those run? Like $200?
Uh, they're pretty. I can't remember. The one I looked at was like 500, but that's because it was
Oh
like
God,
that was like a
no,
legitimate professional like sportscaster level one. But
no.
I did hear that like they go for a little bit cheaper if you can find brands. But I've
Okay.
I'm an earbud and dynamic mic kind of guy. It's just it works for me for
Yeah,
however long I've
like I
been doing
said,
it.
if you're
So
used to using that, if someone's used to using that like you are, you're
mhm.
used to facing the mic, it's great.
Yep.
And if you need to turn away to go get something, then just don't talk.
Yeah.
Just wait till you come back to the mic.
Yep.
The guy, one of the guys I talked with in Japan, Mayday-san, is his YouTube channel.
Hmm.
He uses a nice mic. He
Yeah.
did the same thing. So he would go away, he would stop talking, and then he'd
Yep.
bring it back, and he would he remembered to talk into the mic.
Yeah, it's funny because when you get into a rhythm, because like so I just put out, I've only put out a couple YouTube videos so far on this new channel, and the first one I was watching it back and making, I'm like, dang, dude, you got to get better about that because I'm so used to live streaming where it's all right here, like
Yeah.
my camera's right up here, but my mic's here, so it's like and I'm focused here, so it's fine. But
You
with
don't have
this,
to turn.
I was like leaning over and stuff, and I wasn't
Uh-huh.
thinking, and I didn't also have my earbuds in when I was doing the recording because it was getting in the way. And then I went back and played back. I'm like, okay, I got to get better about that because if I'm going to be looking away, I need to stop talking, come back, wait, and then start talking so I can at least clip audio. And so
Right.
it's a learning process for post production for sure, which I'm sure you're well aware of.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so those little tiny things, man, that you don't even realize until you
Yep.
start doing it on your own. And yeah, it's when you start doing that and you start editing your own stuff and you start realizing these little tiny things that really make a difference, it really makes you appreciate some of these YouTubers that
Oh yeah.
have all of that down, like do a really well done video
Yeah.
and with the audio and stuff. So
Yep.
especially like voiceover stuff. When you look at like gameplay stuff, like Kicking Mustang is one of the
Yeah.
ones
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like bro, the his voiceovers and his music that goes with it is really engaging, right?
Yep.
That takes a lot of time and effort to do. People
Yeah.
don't, if you never have done that, you don't realize what you have to go through. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
So true. Yeah.
So,
Kicking Mustang, Jet Desert Fox, and Dutch the Hooligan are the three that I've been like watching the most of like
yeah,
not trying to like obviously everyone has their own niche and it's like I don't want to ever like I'm never going to be as big as them, but I don't want to ever like copy them, but I'm like okay,
right.
I'm picking up how you guys are doing it and I like these little tidbits and I'm going to try and use these um like types of recording and types of post production to better increase, you know, user enjoyment basically with whatever. Because I mean, I don't do it for a living. I just do it because I like it. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where okay, these quality features are what people really enjoy or what I enjoy. So I'm going to try and mimic this behavior to the best of my ability. So it's nice because like I've been doing Twitch streaming for so long. I have the mic, I have the audio set up. Like I mean, I've got all the bells and whistles to do it. It's just a matter of okay, now I need to dedicate time after work to actually do some post production and do some filming. So,
No shit, right?
yeah,
Well, yeah, man. I appreciate you being on, dude.
absolutely. I'm happy to. I'll admit I'm kind of new to your podcast, but I was just introduced to it, and now I listen to it at work almost every day. So,
Oh, Jesus.
um,
Okay.
yeah. So
That's,
it's a
I feel
great.
bad for you.
No, ha ha ha. No, it's great to keep on in the background because like I love just like talking airsoft and everything. So just hearing people just chat about it casually is like, oh, it's relaxing. I like it.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
good, good. That's really what I wanted. Honestly, it was a. I mean, I didn't know in the beginning. If
sure.
you've heard some of you probably heard me say this, talk about it, how it
Hmm.
started, kind of just on a whim, I guess. For the podcast itself. But yeah, man, I saw your. So when I think you were the very first one that
Hmm.
actually went. Like we didn't chat. I didn't
Oh,
message you. Like we didn't chat. You went on to. I had just recently, in last couple weeks, set up a booking
oh, really?
calendar feature on my website.
Oh,
Like
wow. Okay.
dude, I just turned it on. It wasn't even like I didn't even have all the I, like have it set
Yeah.
right, set correctly. I didn't know what I was doing. I
Oh,
was just
that's
kind of,
so
and I
funny.
turned it on. You were
Yeah.
the first one and I got this notification that somebody went on and booked
Yeah.
a time for the podcast. And I said, oh shit, like it worked. I did. I hadn't
That's
even
so cool.
tested it.
I am happy to be your guinea pig. That's
Oh,
super cool.
dude, it was awesome. Um,
That's super neat.
So one of the things I had to adjust was the time zone.
Yeah.
So when I first went on there, it said I think the default setting was show my time zone,
Mhm.
like show whoever's looking at the calendar when they're
Yeah.
trying to book my time zone. So the Eastern time, I'm on
Yeah.
the East Coast in South
Yeah.
Carolina, and then there's another check where you can not have that do it, but show that person's time zone.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's what I need to do. Okay,
Oh,
because
so it shows
somebody
local,
messaged
yeah.
me, like a couple days after you booked, and they were like, we were talking through Instagram, and I said, hey, I put up this booking feature on here, and I knew it worked because you had done it. So
That's so
thank you.
funny. You're
And
welcome. I'm glad to have helped.
oh yeah, and so he texted me and he said, how about like 9 o'clock on? I picked the 9 o'clock time on Saturday morning, which was today,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, I just want to make sure. This is before I knew about the time zone feature
Sure,
that I
yeah.
could switch, and I said, I'm in. That's 9 o'clock Eastern time, right? And he's like, oh no, I'm on the West Coast. I say, oh fuck, that's like 6 o'clock your time, bro. Are you
Yeah,
gonna be
that's
up that
early.
early?
Yeah. It's
He's
like, "You
like,
better be up, dude."
he goes, no, I won't be up that early.
Yeah. On a Saturday? No, I'm passed out,
Oh,
man.
bro. He goes, I am playing that day, so I do need to get up early. But I said, well, there's an 11 o'clock time that you can, put in, and that'll be 8 o'clock your time. He's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we had to reschedule anyway.
Oh, I
He
gotcha.
was like, he had to work overtime or something. So anyway, so that's when I went in and I was like, I got to make this easy for people, man. Like, there's got to be a way to do this. It's built in. I
Sure.
just didn't see it.
Yeah.
So then I switched it. So now it should be okay. I need to go on my wife's phone or something and
Mhm.
try to go from the outside source because when I go in, I'm
It's already
viewing it
logged in and
from
everything.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, I feel that.
So,
I work in web and graphic design, so that's like I do it all the time. Like, I have to test my own stuff, and so I've got to log in through an
nice.
incognito window, or I have to have like a dummy account or something just to test stuff. So I get that.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Thank you so much. Incognito window.
Yep,
Duh.
that'll do it. Yep,
Holy shit.
That's the nice little ace in the hole when you're trying to test. Whenever I'm trying to test something at work, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how's this going to look? And it's caching all my data. It's caching all my login information. So I'll
Oh,
just log in either through a separate browser or through incognito, and I usually can get around it. So
what a pro tip. Hey, listen, anyone out there? Okay, incognito uh, browser. Open up that thing. It's not just for Pornhub. Okay, it's for.
no, not at work. I don't. That's not what it's used for. I use it for actual productivity.
You can view your own, like
Yep.
test your own shit
Yeah. Yep.
by going into that browser. That
Well,
is
it's handy
awesome.
because,
Okay.
like, so most people will tell you if you're like doing stuff, they'll say, "Hey, clear your cache and try again." But
Right.
incognito mode doesn't cache anything by just
Exactly.
default. So
Oh,
if
that's
you don't want
awesome.
to clear your cache and lose your cookies and all your login info,
Yep.
you can just log in through incognito, and it's basically doing the same thing, but on like a temporary testing instead of like actually permanent. So yeah,
I can't believe I
there you
never
go.
thought of that, bro. Jesus, thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to have helped
Oh,
there
I
too.
love learning shit on here. Yes.
For
Oh, you
sure, for
just made my
sure.
life so much easier.
Glad to hear it.
Because so I built the website through Wix,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay, cool.
they have a ton of tools.
Yeah.
Um, they have a preview tool, but
Okay.
the calendar thing, I'm still, even with the preview thing, I can preview the changes that I make, and it
Hmm.
comes up fresh or whatever. But as far as like getting that like step by step by step through that process, because you click on the book online, then you
Yeah.
click on the booking feature, then you click on a date, pick a date. I don't know how far in, like, I don't know how in depth the preview tool is
Oh, like
on
how
there.
far to let you go.
Correct.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Where I'm actually seeing the whole process all the way through as somebody new.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, bro, good tip. Okay. So anyway, I'm actually in a. These are paint splatters.
Oh, is that what that is? I thought it was part of the
Yeah, it
design. I
is.
thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was like a shattered effect.
I should have let. Yeah, I know, right? It is. It is kind of cool looking. But yeah, these are paint splatters. So I really like this shirt because of the design of the gun on
Yeah,
here.
I like that. That's cool.
I can't remember. It's my son's shirt. One of those services he gets like monthly,
Oh
and
yeah,
I stole it from him and started using it for work. So,
nice. Very
but I
cool.
just noticed that in the lighting in the camera, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of paint splatters on there. Okay. So I just got, bro, I'm out here. So Saturday morning, I'm in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Um, the weather was actually nice today.
Oh, good.
Supposed to be nice all day. No rain, finally. And it was, we have a double door in our house that's at the end of the house, kind of like what normally would be like a sliding glass door. Well,
Yeah.
it's old, really old, double doors. And we haven't used them in years because I don't have like steps out there for the outside. I have a deck on this side of the house that's really big or bigger. And so we never use that. And it's right, it's a weird spot. It's in the middle of the living room, like no one crosses through there to go out.
Sure.
Well, anyway, this cold weather we had like 2 weeks ago, like in the 20s at night, um, which is not supposed, that has no place in South Carolina. Okay. But it got down really low for a couple nights. And we heard this crack one night a couple weeks ago. And then all of a sudden I heard this like debris falling in the living room on the floor. And I'm going, what the fuck? So the frame on the outside of the door cracked. I think it shifted because of the cold. Um, anyway, the window broke and it's tempered glass. So
Oh,
all these little tiny balls of
yeah.
glass,
It
start,
just goes everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, it started falling in a little bit at a time. And so anyway, this morning, so I put plastic over it
Yeah.
a week and a half ago, whatever, just to until it stopped raining. And so this morning I was out there working on it. So I ripped it all out. Excuse me, built a frame in there. Put up. I already had all the supplies and everything, and put up the outside. And now all I have to do is put up the insulation and then the drywall on the inside. Well, anyway, so I got it all set up. Well, in the middle of this, uh, I have somebody. I'm on the back, so I
Hmm.
have a Ring doorbell in the front,
Yeah.
and so it goes off, and I'm looking. I'm like, okay, it's Amazon delivery or something. No, it's two guys dressed up in suits, and I'm like, oh, the Bible guys.
Oh.
Joe,
Oh. Joe's Witness. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Jehovah Witness, and so I just talked through that. I was like, hey, I'm in the back if y'all want to talk, whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm busy. they're like, okay, so they came around the back. I got this fucking double door with shattered glass all over,
Yeah.
everywhere. Because I undid it. I took all the screws out and I just pushed it out. And so I got wood out there, the framing stuff, all the 2x4s, all the shit laying around. And my wife's out there helping me. And these guys come back. They're like, "Oh my gosh, what do you got?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm busy, man. I don't have time to talk, but you can stand here and watch if you want." So they're cool, man. They're cool. But
Yeah.
so anyway, I just got done putting I wanted to get the outside covered,
Sure.
so there's not a gaping hole there because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
38 degrees and until it warms up later. But and I was like, I got the notification to come on here. I was like, oh shit,
Oh,
I got to go in. So I just got everything sealed up,
gotcha.
and then I was able to come in. Hell yeah.
Good. Good, good, good.
Good deal. So I found your. So once you got on here, I
Mhm.
looked up your YouTube channel. I saw you have 2 videos on there. I
Yep.
watched them. You are very well spoken. I
Thank
love.
you.
Yeah, you are. You're really good at explaining your guns and the features on it and the different attachments or whatever you have. Um, Really well spoken in that way, and I notice that a lot because I'm not, and I want to be.
Sure.
So, so yeah, man, you got so you have a long history in airsoft, but you've been out of it for a while, and you're coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So,
Basically, I started when I was 10 back in California. So I'm
right,
originally born and raised on the West Coast. Started playing around 10 years old with my neighbors, just the Walmart plinkers, the stuff you go get, the clear plastic guns you had to cock every
yeah,
time. And just little by little, we just, me and my buddies started making more friends. Everything started upgrading to, we discovered AEGs and the wonderful world of battery powered guns. And then, played literally all the way up through high school. And then my parents decided to move us out here to the Midwest when my dad retired from the fire service. And
oh,
I tried to like really connect with the scene out here. I did actually become friends with my buddy John, who actually owns the local field, and I've been friends with him ever since I moved here. So that helped like me connect, but it wasn't the same without all my buddies that like I knew everybody, and we go play on like private property and whatever, and it
yeah,
was a much more intimate environment. And then coming out here, I didn't know anyone, and so it was just a bunch of strangers running around, and I wasn't super social at that time, unfortunately. And so
yeah,
the connections weren't there, and I just kind of didn't have the same like passion to go play because I wasn't playing with my friends, and so I kind of burnt out. And then, ironically, like less than 2 years ago, I was like, the gear's been collecting dust. I'm just gonna sell it, whatever. Less than 2 years later, I'm like, you know what I really miss,
oh my
and what I
god,
really want to get back into. I had sold like almost 10 years worth, 8 years worth of gear that I had been collecting. I just sold it for dirt cheap to my sister's
oh
friend.
shit,
And now I'm like, shoot, I got to rebuy everything. So now I'm on the
right,
journey of building everything back up literally from ground zero. Everything I had was gone except the only thing I kept was my I have my chest rig. It's actually that one right there. That I still
okay,
have. That was the only thing I kept because I liked the way it fit. And I'm like, well, I can technically use this for real steel if I really want to. So I was
yeah,
like, I just kept it. But everything else, yeah, everything else is literally I'm having to buy and start over from the ground up. So it's kind of that's why like in the YouTube video, I was like, I'm not a noob, but I am returning to the game as if I am. So it's kind of like a little journey of like, I kind of know what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of new stuff out there. Like MOSFETs and ETUs did not exist when I was playing Airsoft. That was not a thing. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you can do these things in your gun to allow you to shoot tri-burst. And I'm like, what? This was not a thing back in the day. And like lipos, no one touched lipos. Those were literally like everyone was like, "Oh, you're putting a bomb in your backpack." Like no, everyone was too scared of them, and now everybody runs lipos. So it's
right.
kind of jarring to come back and it's like this is not the same game I left a couple of years ago at all.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the innovations that have happened. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that because I just got started, brand new in this like in 2019.
Yeah.
So it was I was introduced into all of these different. Oh, MOSFET. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
What does this do? What does that do? Because I remember these guys talking about, oh, we got to put a MOSFET in this if we want to shoot, use a lipo
Yeah.
to make it shoot faster or whatever. And I'm going, well, can we try it without it? What'll happen? Like, what's going to happen? And they're like,
You can.
they're
You
like,
just it might do it once. Like
yeah, they're like, honestly, I don't know. I said, well, let's try it. This is what, like, I was thinking of ways to, or different things to film for our YouTube
sure.
channel,
Yeah.
and I had legitimate questions. I'm like, I'm sure there's other people out there that want to know,
Yeah.
what would happen if you have a gun that, you stick a light, because I mean, the same connector,
Yeah.
Dean's or
Yeah.
the
The,
Tamaya or whatever
yeah,
it's called.
Tamiya or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, let's just hook it up and see what happens. But we found out real quick. I mean, it's most of the time it's not going to blow up.
No.
It's mostly going to just burn up your gears,
Yep.
or something, motor or something like that.
Something's gonna burn out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't know as much as I should because, like I said, I've only been getting back into this just recently. But it's exciting to see where it's come
yeah.
since like when I played because like I remember with the big you just get the big 9.6 or 8.4 volts and you would be duct taping them to your gun because they were too big to fit anywhere and it was just I still remember that like we'd be running around
Oh,
out in the
that's
forest out
funny.
in Northern California and just running around with army gear on we got at army surplus stores and duct tape batteries to our guns and we'd be like all right well let's go out and plink for a couple hours and it was, very different from, like, where it's at. It's also very different playing as, like, an 18-year-old versus playing as a 30-year-old. Like,
Yeah,
it's very, very different game, and in a good way. I like it a lot more, actually. I think I have more fun now than I did back then.
gotcha.
But, yeah.
Now, what did you? So you were out of it for a while, and then
Mhm.
you got rid of all your stuff, and then
Yeah.
so what was the moment where you were like, what sparked you to go, hey, I want to get back into this, even though I just sold all my shit.
Yeah, it was kind of a thing of it was literally just waking up going, "I miss airsoft." Like, for no reason, rhyme or reason, just I woke up one day, I was like, "You know what I miss?" But then there's also kind of like, I'm a desk jockey. Like I said before, I work as a
Mm.
graphic designer and web designer for, actually, I technically work for Johnny Morris. So, like Bass Pro stuff. Um,
Oh
but
shit. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I because I'm a desk jockey, I don't get out and do a lot. I'm not as active as I used to be, and I really enjoyed being active when I was playing airsoft. And so I was
Right.
like, "Yeah, that actually this would get me up out of my desk and get me socializing outside of work." And it's like, "You know what? We'll just get back into it." And it was really cool because it was kind of this two-pronged thing of like, well, I need to be more active as well as I just miss it, but I also was like welcomed back into it with open arms because, like I said, my buddy John, I still keep in touch with him on Facebook every once in a while, and I messaged him on Facebook and I was like, "Hey, you have any tips for a returning noob that doesn't know anything about airsoft anymore?" And he's like, "Come by the shop, we'll hook you up." And so I went down there one day. I'm like, "All right, I've been at it for years. I know nothing. What do you guys got?" And so they were giving me all the pointers and everything. And then when I came to the games, he was always super excited to see me and making a big deal out of it. So it helped me kind of get back into it and be more excited about it. And it's been I go anytime he's got a game now, or at least I try. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure, man. Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
good,
fun.
man. So I think there's a lot of I think that's happened to a lot of people in the last couple years.
Yeah.
During lockdowns, I really
Hmm.
think people were coming out of that. I think people were looking for, especially, younger adults,
Yeah.
people that were out of high school, maybe out of college, if they were in college or something like that. Once their life kind of settles down a little bit, then they're adults. They have a job, so they have
Yeah.
money, their own money when they're not, as opposed to when you're 15. Um,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, so they're looking for something to be a part of and something to get out. What can I get out of the house and go do?
Yeah.
What option? If you're just sitting there thinking, like, what can I go do? You can go golf, right? There's golf courses. Most states
Yeah.
have golf courses all around.
Yeah.
Real golf courses, not putt-putt golf, which is what I do. So I don't real golf. I don't do the real golf.
I haven't done real golf probably in as long as since I started airsoft. Like
Same
it's been a
here.
minute.
Same here. It's been probably 15 years since I've done real golf. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, what are your options? There's basketball courts all around, like at elementary schools throughout,
Hmm.
different cities. You could just go down there and start shooting hoops.
Yeah.
Maybe some people show up. Maybe you can start playing with. I mean, when you really think about what could I go do, you can go bowling, right?
Yeah.
Try to find some friends to go bowling because it's boring by yourself.
Yeah. A little
Uh,
bit.
yeah,
Plus,
right.
no one
It's
wants to be the weird dude bowling by themselves at an alley. Like, who's that guy?
right. That would be weird as hell.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, when you think about what options do you have, what are you going to go do as a hobby as an adult?
Yeah.
Fishing. A lot of people go fishing. It's
Yeah.
calming, it's relaxing, but you're not going to have the camaraderie. You're not going to have
Yep.
this group that you can be around of all these different people and all these different personalities. And people coming out of lockdown want to be around other people.
They want
Like this
socialization.
is
They wanna start interacting with
yes,
people again. Yeah.
right. So you can go to bars and get drunk. You could, go to a restaurant or whatever and hang out. Um, I know there's a lot of people that do like game nights, right? Like
Yep.
D&D or
Yep.
whatever
Oh,
cards,
I'm in that
poker
arena as well.
players.
I got that covered.
Yeah, right. And it's and those are fun too, but to have the variety that
Yeah.
Airsoft offers and the Airsoft community offers is there's nothing like it, to be honest. And
No,
I
no,
say
there
this all the
absolutely isn't.
time. Yeah, and I know people that listen to my podcast all the time, they're going to, the two people that do, they're going to be like, "Bro, you said this like 100 times." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, bro. It's just so I'm still in awe
Yeah.
of how when I found this, uh, just how broad it is. I just can't believe how diverse,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
not
How
just the
diverse and how
people,
widespread it is. Like,
right?
I've heard it said and I've repeated it. It's the biggest hobby you've never heard of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
literally
best way
what
to
it
put
is
it.
because when you get like people will still go, "What the heck is airsoft?" And then you take 30 seconds to Google it, and you're finding these 3,500 person events in the UK, or you're
Yeah,
finding these old French fort events in south of France, or Milsim events in Southern California with 800 people showing up, and it's like, where the hell did all this come from? And it's like been going on for 15 plus years, and it's like no one ever hears about it or talks about it, but it's got thousands of people millions of people really all over the world playing it in places you would never think about. It's just crazy. It's so wild, and
it
it's
is
pretty cool too.
for sure. Yeah, it almost has. I really haven't found anything since I've been talking with people and watching videos or whatever on this stuff. I haven't found anything in airsoft so far that I guess that doesn't fit someone's personality type.
Yep.
So no matter what you're into, no matter what, if you are ex-military, military veteran, hardcore gung ho,
Yeah.
whatever, and you want to go for that experience, like guess what? There's a venue for you.
Yep.
Okay, Milsim West or something like that, American Milsim.
Yep.
You want to just casually just hang out with people and maybe a little bit airsoft here and there. You've got Milsim events for that. You've got indoor play,
Yep.
CQB stuff. You've got pickup games. You've got whatever they call it, skirmishes, 1 day plays, like
Well,
it
and now
just
you have and now Swamp Sniper's taking it to the next level because he's like, okay, you want to go out and LARP with your buddies or basically
yes,
pretend you're in a video game but happen to use airsoft. Guess what? I host events all year long at Ballahack, and actually, my buddy John hosts very similar events locally. Like it's becoming a popular thing now
it really
of these
is.
RP focused events that just so happen to have airsoft guns. And I'm like, you're right. They literally cover the gambit as far as what you could possibly experience with an airsoft gun all the way across the board, and it's so cool.
100%.
And like I
And
was
then
listening to
if you
your
don't want to shoot, if you don't are not
yeah,
like, hey, I don't really like really I don't care about shooting or getting shot or whatever, but I still want to be involved in this community.
yeah,
I want to go with my friends
yep,
to this event because it sounds cool as hell,
yeah,
but I don't really like running around and trying to shoot people. Oh, like you said, Balahack or all these other
yep,
people that are starting these other events for role playing stuff, you can be an NPC.
yep,
So you're like what he does that western one. There's
yeah,
like
the
a
wild,
whole
yeah,
town where there's people walking
yep,
through, like they're not actually engaged in shooting and
yeah. They're
running
just
around and
interacting as if they're in a video game, basically. Like the Rev series is the
yes,
one that really caught my attention, which is the post-apocalyptic one that he does twice a
right,
year. And I love it. They have their own ecosystem, their own currency, their own bartering system, these quests, and just and then of course there's overarching story of, oh, if you don't get this by the end of the day, these reapers kill you, or these angels get you, or nuclear fallout consumes you. And it's like I just think it's so creative.
it
I
is.
I love his creativity. He has honestly been like an inspiration for me getting back into it because like, he's got this big successful business, and he's got a huge following on YouTube and everything. He's got a family, and he's still this just gigantic big kid. And just
Yeah,
enjoys life and does everything he can to make others
he's super
happy. I'm just like,
excited about it.
and he's
Like
like, yeah,
this is
exactly.
something
He's
he's
passionate.
passionate.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love it.
It is cool.
Yeah, never
Yeah,
met the
it's
guy. I wish I could, but man, he's an
yeah, me
inspiration for
too.
sure.
Well, I will definitely. That is, it's one of my bucket list things for the airsoft event stuff is to go over there.
Yeah,
They're not that far from me.
yeah, you're lucky. It's a
Ballahack.
17-hour drive for me.
Yeah, are you in Missouri?
I am. I'm in Southwest Missouri. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so yeah, you're in the middle of the country.
yep.
Yeah, it's a long
I'm close
drive.
to everything and far away from everything else. Like it's nice than being on the West Coast because like then you're literally if anything happens Midwest or East Coast, you're not going to do it. But at least in the middle, I'm like it's the same distance pretty much everywhere.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, Missouri, you're have you been to, well, you just started getting back into it, but
Mhm.
have you heard of the there's a field not too far from you, I think. Uh Bing, Bing Field.
Being I
It's
haven't
in
heard of that one, no.
I think it's in Illinois
Okay.
or Indiana. No, Indiana shot zone.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a handful of fields that shouldn't be that far from you that
Oh,
are,
yeah, no, there's quite a
I mean,
few
they'd be a day
actually.
trip for sure, but it would
Yeah.
be, you know,
Yeah, day trips don't bother me. Like, there's actually a couple. So I'm Southwest. So the nearest field to me is my CQB field that my buddy owns. It's like 10 minutes away. But then he owns a place called the Rock, which is this gigantic quarry that's been turned into an airsoft field, and that's an hour away. And that's nothing. Like we all of
oh,
us drive
I
up there
saw
for games
that.
all the time.
Actually, I saw that because I went through your Instagram and I saw it was either yours or anyway, I think it was you had the location tagged.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And so I clicked on it and I was like, it brings up the map thing
yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's." And I went to the website actually.
yeah.
And saw that. So,
Yeah, so
yeah.
they actually had a pretty big event there not too long ago. They had what do they call it? It's the Star Wars event that's now like going around the country. They had one of the events there. The next event's going to be in Wisconsin, but a couple months ago they had the Star Wars. It's basically like the role playing thing we were talking about, but it's all
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wuz themed. So everybody's
Oh, I
walking
don't
around in
know.
like
What
I can't remember what it's called. It's like galactic something. I
Oh,
gotta I
okay.
gotta look it up. On because I follow their Facebook. I'll have to pull it up here, but it's a Star Wars themed airsoft role playing event. So like the Wild Thing or the that we were talking about a
Yeah.
second ago or Rev, but Star Wars. So everybody's running around in like Star Wars cosplay
Oh, that's
outfits and
awesome.
have guns that
Yeah,
look like
yeah.
Star Wars. And they use credits to barter with each other, and like it's a whole thing, but it's all Star Wars themed. And so they had that out there. I didn't get to go because
Oh,
that was right before I got back into the game,
okay.
but I heard about it and I saw the pictures and everything. Okay, I'm like, that's cool. And so
Yeah.
so I have stuff like that locally, which is really nice. But then there's a mount site that does airsoft games up north in Kansas City, about a
Oh,
3 hour
shit.
drive. So yeah, there's a couple fields like within a short distance, but all like the really big events that like everybody wants to go to, those are all like
Yeah.
really far away. So I gotta figure out how to make those work.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you pull up something, you can, you know, part of this podcast is show and tell.
Yeah.
So if you want to, I've shared the screen, or pull up people's videos or Instagrams or whatever. Like, if you want to bring up, if you find that event, if you want to show it for your buddy's
Ah,
field or whatever, you can,
yeah, here it is. It's on my Facebook, but I can at least like pull up the
and you can share if you want to share the screen, or I can.
yeah, give me a second here.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, let me just do it this way. I've got multiple monitors, so I can just do it that way. Let me do.
I did this live stream last night, Instagram live. It was the
Oh
first
yeah,
time I ever went. It's the first time I ever did that. Uh,
yeah. I'm so used to live that post production for me is the abnormal one. But yeah,
right.
so it's Galactic Civil War is what it's called. So it's not
That's
100%
cool.
Star Wars themed for like copyright reasons, but basically, yeah, it's like I mean, this next one's going to be in Wisconsin, but the last one that they did was local here. This is the guy who runs it, 6 millimeter Mandalorian. I've never been to
Oh,
these
okay.
events, but I've heard they're really, really cool. I wonder, do
I
they have
swear
like
I've heard of that name. Okay.
yeah, so this is when they hosted it at my field. But like yeah, you got guys running around. These are all airsoft guns, but they got like Mando helmets on and like stormtrooper gear, and this is like where you can go out and basically get all your weird stuff that you can't wear to a normal game.
Yeah.
You get to wear it here and be like, Jawas and stuff.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I want to go to this so bad because it looks
Dude, do you know how many Star Wars fans are airsofters? I mean,
oh yeah.
airsofters that are Star Wars fans? Like,
Well, and
bro.
what's really cool is they've partnered with a couple different companies that make kits to like turn your airsoft gun into a Star Wars replica. So like this
Yeah,
turns a
the
WE
blasters.
Luger into the Jyn Erso Rogue One blaster. Like that's a kit you put on
Nice.
an airsoft gun. Like they have a kit
That's
for this that turns the Elite Force Hater into the gun that is used in Andor that looks like a revolver.
gotcha.
And they're not expensive kits either, which is really cool.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, it's pretty neat what they've got out there for like you said, it covers everything. You can literally play airsoft in almost
Yeah.
any arena if you can imagine it. There's somebody out there doing it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I wanna go scratch my Star Wars itch one of these days like, as that game
I
comes back.
saw in your video, your YouTube video, where the one where I think it's your second video where you were
Uh-huh.
explaining kind of like your background a little bit,
Yeah.
how you got an airsoft and all that, and then you had a Star Wars shirt on. And I was like,
Oh,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
yep, I had my Star Wars hoodie on, yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I've you can't see it, but you can see my posters back here. All the way to the left is one of the original, New Hope posters, in a frame, so
okay.
I've got my movie stuff back there too, so Star Wars is definitely on that list.
Yeah, it looks cool. I like your background. You got
Thanks.
a couple of posters there, and then what is that? Film reels,
This right here, yeah,
like an abstract art kind
they're
of
just like some
film.
yeah, we had like a media room at my parents' house, and they moved and like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure." It fits the vibe.
It's cool though. Yeah,
Thanks.
retro, vintage or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. The rest of
It's
the room
awesome.
doesn't match it, but it fits the vibe of like, "Hey, this is where I watch my movies." So,
Hmm.
but yeah, so yeah,
Yeah, that's the other
it's
cool thing,
pretty
man.
cool.
Is all these different events, especially now with 3D printing.
Oh yeah,
So you
yep,
got a ton of airsofters that are, well, obviously they're gamers, they're Star Wars fans, and then cosplayers.
yep.
So the podcast that came out Thursday, Valkyrie, she's in California. She does a lot of cosplay, and that's actually what we talked about. Most of the podcast was her cosplay stuff,
That's cool.
and yeah. So and it was because I mean, her and her husband airsoft, but they also do cosplay events there in California, and they one of their friends that she cosplays with is another airsofter as well. So this all of this kind of fantasy world kind of thing, is really popular or common, I guess, in the airsoft community.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think because of that is where you get all these really exciting events.
Oh yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Like you got, and now with, like I said, with the 3D printing stuff, you can make all kind of gear,
Yep.
attachments for your guns, whatever
Yeah.
that
If you can imagine it, you can pretty much build it.
right,
Yeah.
and it'll fit that theme or whatever's going on. So there's
Yep.
Fallout events. There's
Yeah.
I'm waiting on somebody. There's Halo. There's people that dress up like Halo.
Like
I'm
Master
waiting on
Chief
the
stuff,
Halo
yeah.
event and the Gears of War
The Gears of
event. I
War stuff sounds I've seen some stuff and it's like, okay, because Gears of War is just so dramatically over the top, like on
right,
purpose. So people that take it into an airsoft field, I'm like, first off, that looks uncomfortable as hell, but it looks
right.
awesome. Like,
Yeah, you've got all this big bulky shit, and well, even
yeah.
the enemies in Gears of War, the locusts, whatever, they're
Hmm.
they're just big bulky,
Yeah.
lizard looking people or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's cool. Like, I'm not into 3D printing myself. I don't have the time, money, or setup to like do it. But I had a buddy of mine that is local that does 3D printing, and so I've been like starting to compile a mental list of like, okay, I want to see if he can make me one of these and one of these, because like really simple stuff
Yes.
to start with. Like, I just want like, hey, maybe he can make me some gun stands that just like the magwell things. You slide the gun over the mag and it holds it
Yep.
up. Maybe he can make me a couple of those just as like a start to see what he can do and give him some business, but also get me some cheap stuff.
Sure.
But
Exactly.
yeah, so
Yeah. When my oldest son, who's on the YouTube channel, Chris, he when he got a 3D printer. I was working on their guns and stuff, and I'm like, "Hey, can you make me this?" This little. So I'm sitting here working on this desk right here. This whole wall, instead of having
yeah,
what I have on there now, I used to have. It was a pegboard. It's
okay,
actually still a pegboard behind it, but it was a pegboard, and I had a bunch of tools
yeah.
hanging up there because I would work on their gearboxes and stuff. So I'm like, "Hey, can you make me a little phone stand to
Oh,
just sit
nice.
right
Yeah.
here while I'm?" And it's like a mini book, book stand or whatever,
Yeah.
so it's just real tiny, just fit my phone perfect. So he took my phone, measured this, and created this thing, and just printed it. It was like less than a day he was done. He brought it in here, and it was great. I just sat my phone there, and I could watch something, I could watch a video while I'm working on their gearbox,
Yeah.
and then he made me a like an armorer's block kind of thing
Oh, yeah.
for
Yep.
the punch
Mhm.
pins and shit like that. So yeah, it's cool, man. You're just like, hey, could you make this? He's like, yeah, let me go find it. He
Let
go
me
on
find the
like
specs somewhere, yeah.
yeah, Thingiverse or something like that. And there's all kind of different people. It's like a community where they upload their designs
Yes, yeah.
and everyone
That's
can
what's really
just use them.
cool. That's what's really cool about the 3D printing, like, culture, because like, obviously, I'm not in it, but I know about it, and they're just
Yeah.
it's very collaborative. It's like, "Hey, I figured out how to make this thing. Here's the recipe for it.
Yep.
Have at it." Because
Open source, man.
yeah.
Everyone just sharing ideas.
Yep, I love it. Wait, so, like, speaking of open source, so, like, what else when I'm not doing this, I own and run a GTA 5 roleplay server. So
Oh shit.
I don't know if you know what GTA 5 roleplay is.
No,
But okay,
explain.
so GTA 5 is Grand Theft Auto 5, the game.
I do know
Eh,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
and
I
then
love that game, by the way.
yeah, exactly. And then somebody years ago, they created this open source platform called 5M, and it's a modded version of GTA 5 that
Okay.
allows people to create custom servers with all these mods and things and role play like we would do at Airsoft games in the game, but like in a video game. And
Yeah.
so I run and own a server where we have it set up so people can jump in and be gangbangers and cops and whatever and run around and role play. And it's all open source, but it's supposed to be collaborative and everything. So it's really cool when you have all these people that are like, "Hey, I figured out this really cool thing in code that allows you to do this. Here you go." It's great comparative to like, "Hey, I figured out how to do this. $20 please," and then
Yep.
you can do it. And it's like, "Okay, dude, like, come on."
Yeah. Right.
Money grab,
Yeah,
you know.
I love that sharing ideas thing,
Yeah.
where that's going on. Yeah, it's cool. Now, speaking of that, so
Mhm.
I've come across just by accident videos of there's this guy that I I don't know if it's called the same thing like role play
Sure.
stuff,
Yeah.
but he plays GTA 5.
Yep.
He's I think he used to be on the police force.
Okay.
I don't know, but he's got like his room is set up really cool where he's got like cop lights
Yep.
and
That's
he
a common
play I
thing.
think he plays a cop that's his character
Sure.
in GTA 5,
Yeah.
but he follows all the rules.
Yeah.
Like when he's driving, he doesn't go around he doesn't go on the other side of the street,
Yep.
or on sidewalks, and
Yep.
if there's a stoplight, he stay, you know what I'm saying? Like all
That's
the fucking rules.
That's what we do on our server is like there's street laws and like we have our own penal code. We have
No
pages and
shit.
pages of our own criminal code. And like
What?
yeah, and so like, there's speed limits, stopping at red lights. There's you stay on the road. There's there's crimes for I mean, I'm going blank because there's so many of them, but like we have, people can rob stores and they can get arrested for that. They can rob each other. We have gun running, we have drug production, like all these sorts of things
Yeah.
exist. It's like, and but again, there's an entire criminal code. So if like you get arrested, there's a charge for your crime, and you get charged a time and a fine, and you get sent up and sent to prison.
No,
And
how does that work? Like, is that somebody had to build
yes,
that into the thing?
oh yeah, lots and
No
lots and
way.
lots of code. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like completely modified and customized to allow this sort of interaction. Like we have our own MDT, so like we actually pull it up and we have people's profiles and their criminal records, and we can search their
Get the
license
fuck
plate.
out of here.
Yeah, so like we can search, like okay, their license plate on their vehicle says this. We can check. Oh, that vehicle's registered to so and so. Oh, there's a warrant out for this person because they didn't come to court to pay their fine for a traffic ticket,
Oh
or
my
this
god.
person was presented with a warrant to supply their blood sample because we found it on the scene of a crime. They ran, so now we've got a warrant out to go catch them. And there's the
I
fingerprints
would
and
love to
DNA and
join this thing. Can anyone join it?
so our server specifically is whitelisted, which means you have to fill out a quick little application, and
Okay.
then we whitelist and then you can play. There's a lot of public servers that are out there as well. You can just jump on and play, but typically those servers are going to be a lot more just zany. They're going to be very
Yeah.
like ruthless, and there's not a whole lot of rules. But like our server specifically, we try really hard to kind of adhere to a sense of like reality. Like obviously it's a video game, so there's going to be some
Of
times where it's
course.
like this is going to feel a little Hollywood, but it's Hollywood, not like just insanity. So like you're still
Right.
gonna have people that are like what we call an NVL, means no value for life. And so basically what that means is that's a rule of like you have to pretend that your character's life is real. Like yeah, you can die and respawn in 5 minutes, or you're supposed to be like, okay, I could die, but this character is supposed to be real, so I'm not gonna jump off a 6-story building to get away from the cops because I would die.
Right.
I'm gonna give up because I value my life. So like it's a whole thing. But yeah, I mean I can send you a link if you absolutely want to check it out. It's really cool. I
Oh
love
my
it.
god. That sounds amazing, dude.
Yeah, here I'll just for you if you want it.
Holy shit.
I'll give you that's our server Discord. We actually just did
So
a wipe on our server recently, so we've just kind of restarted with economic wise. Like all the players are kind
oh,
of on the same playing field with money and like cars and stuff.
oh,
It's
okay.
like you can purchase houses, like you can live in your own house. You get an apartment, you can buy cars.
Yeah.
Criminals can like collect guns and stuff, and like so because like I'm one of the owner admins, one of my characters is one of the heads of the police, so I help run the police, keep them all in line. And
Yeah.
then another one of my characters is actually one of the Russians that actually is like the gun dealer on the server. So I have like this shady Russian arms
Holy
dealer,
shit.
and I'm doing like, gun deals for like these guys. Hey, I need an AK-47. All right, that'll be 12 grand, and you're gonna meet at this location. You're gonna look for a truck, and you're gonna find it in the back of the truck. So I come up with fun puzzles for people to like figure out instead of
Right.
just going, here's your stuff,
Like a
because
treasure hunt.
it's like a treasure hunt, but it's also like my character has to be smart because if he gets caught by the cops, then we have a big problem. So he's like trying to be crafty and shady, and you've got other characters that are a little more loud and boisterous, and you've got characters that are just like our head dev. He plays the owner of the Diamond Casino, so the casino that's on the map.
Yeah.
He owns that in the game basically,
Hmm.
and so he's this bald headed, just chauvinistic bastard. Basically, he is just over the top dickhead, and he wears these flashy suits and drives cars nobody can get only because he's trying to basically be the enemy of the server that everybody hates. So like for
Oh,
example, we had
that's
to wipe the server the other day, and so everybody lost all their money and their cars and everything. And out of character, everybody gets it. Like everybody understands we're doing a balancing thing, but like you have to come up with a story reason as to why everyone just lost all their stuff. So we
right.
come up with this reason. Oh, Richmond, the guy who owns the casino, yeah, he sold all this stuff, which then made everybody have to foreclose and bankrupt. So yeah, he's the reason all your stuff's gone. So now everybody hates him even more.
Oh
And
my
we have people that are like
God.
going to tag his building and like cause problems over at his place. Like, oh, dude, you brought this on us. You go to hell. Like all it's
Now, when you decide to wipe, like, uh, who decides that?
our
Just
staff team sat down and had a discussion
okay.
for a
Okay.
couple of weeks actually. Like, cause so we sat down because our devs have been working. So over the holidays, told all of our devs to take a break. We've been working our butts off for almost a year because our server's been up for over a year now. You guys deserve a break. So from about Thanksgiving to New Year's, we said don't work on code, just enjoy your time with your families or play on the server, whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, during that time, none of them listened to me and all were still coding just quietly in the background, working on little projects. And so, right around New Year's, they're all like, hey, look at all this cool stuff we want to put on the server. This is really awesome, but some of this is like going to change how people make money, or this is going to allow people to make
Oh,
money
okay.
faster. We're like, well, if it starts to involve the economy, we need to have a discussion of like how this is going to impact
Gotcha.
things. And our head dev was like, look, we just need to wipe all of our assets. Like that means money, cars, possessions, houses. Like story and characters can all stay intact, and like criminal records can stay intact, but like items and everything need to go away to
Hmm.
balance the server out. And we're like, all right, we don't want to do it. It's going to piss people off, but like we have to, for balancing reasons, we're going to go ahead and do it. And yeah, it upset a few people, but all in all, it has benefited already because people are now having to rebuild what they had. Like they're having to
Yeah.
get on the server and put an effort to make money because like you don't just like in GTA you go sell something and you make like $1 million.
Right.
It's not like that at all. Like this is a much more realistic economy. Cars
No
cost instead of
shit.
like millions, cars cost like five, six, seven, eight, nine, $10,000, or you get like really nice cars that cost like 100 grand or whatever. Uh,
Right.
so you have to go out and make money doing that. So like criminals, they're gonna get their hands on like weed or coke, and they're gonna go out in the street corners and actually sell on the corners and hope the cops don't catch them. Or they're gonna go find cars and chop them and take them to a chop shop and break them down for parts and then sell the parts for money. Or
And then,
civilians.
so are there players in the game that like will just take up the role as a cop and they'll just drive around like
Yep.
try to find those deals that are going on?
That's me. That's me and a couple others. We actually have cops. We have special cop cars. We have a radar that can actually pick up speed of another vehicle and it'll ping you if the car is going too fast. We have
Bro.
like I said, the MDT where we can check records. We've got like I said, we can check for fingerprints. We can run those fingerprints and actually, if we've got
Get
it in our
out of
database,
here.
yeah, like it is
You're
a
blowing my
whole.
mind right now. You're
It's the
blowing
whole
my
thing.
fucking mind.
Yeah,
I
like it's the whole
never
thing.
I mean maybe this is so all y'all that are maybe y'all know about this stuff. I'm just like, "What?
Yeah,
Holy shit!" Because I play GTA Online, you
yeah.
know.
This
Um,
is this is GT Online for okay. Let me put it. I'm gonna say this as not rudely as I can. This is GT Online for adults because like we want some
right.
semblance of of normality. Some like okay, this is
Yeah.
way too wild and wacky. Let's bring it down. But what's really cool also is we have custom stuff. So like we have a bunch of cars that are custom to our server that you won't find in GT Online. They don't exist
Oh
because
my god.
modelers made them. And what they're called lore friendly. So they're made to look like GTA cars, like they're from the same manufacturers that exist in the GTA world. But then
Gotcha.
we also have like reskinned guns. So like in GTA the carbine doesn't
Yeah.
really look like an M4. We have an
Uh-huh.
actual M4 that reskins it. So it
Oh
looks
my
like an
god.
M4. The heavy pistol looks like an actual nickel-plated 1911 instead of the
Mm.
weird sort of boxy thing. The combat pistol is an actual Glock 17, like sort of stuff like that.
So
Tons
how
of
did this
custom clothes
start?
and stuff.
What when did you said your server's been up for over a year.
Uh-huh.
So you were, I'm guessing, you're playing GTA, you liked it,
Yep.
and you're like, "Hey, I want to do something more." Like how did all this start?
So
How did you get a bunch of other people together to like code and do all this shit together?
It's actually a long story, but I can shorten it. I've been doing GTA 5 roleplay now for 6 years, I think. And
Wow.
I discovered it by happenstance from a friend of mine because I'd been on Twitch for a couple of years, and so I made friends in the Twitch circle of like other streamers and stuff from around the globe. And watching a friend of mine on her stream, and she's from the UK, and she was in GTA, but I'm like, she's driving a cop car that doesn't look like it's from the game, and so I was very confused.
Mm.
And it turns out she was on a private GTA server or 5M server with some friends of hers, and she was like, "Yeah, this is kind of what it is, and you should come check it out. Or just send me a DM, and I'll get you on the server." So I jumped on, and I had no idea what was going on, but I kind of understood like you're playing a character, not actually yourself. And then it was just little by little I started to learn what GTA 5 roleplay was. And from there, I moved to another server that was actually very well known called The Family. They were one of the biggest servers in the scene for a long time. Huge, big streamers were part of this group, and it was all storytelling, like really dramatic storytelling. Like it felt like you were watching a movie when you were watching this community on this server. And so I got
Whoa.
hooked, and I ended up getting on their public server and playing there for a while. And I just started getting more and more involved in GTA 5 roleplay of what it was and the love of storytelling and being creative and using video games as a platform to tell stories was something really fun. And
Yeah.
I was there for a few years. I kind of fell out with that community, and then their server shut down. And around the same time their server shut down, or was shutting down, I should say. I had left with a couple of my friends, and we were all like, "Man, we want a place that feels our own, that fits a couple things that this server didn't quite fit, that this server doesn't quite fit. Let's just make our own." And so me and my best friend, sat down with the idea, and then our head dev, Rigsy, he was like, "I know how to code. I'll code it for you." And so the three of us started, and then little by little, we just started pulling friends in who found out we were doing this and who were interested, who were also in those circles. And then next thing you know, we have a staff team that's at the time was like 15 something people, and friends of friends started hearing that Neon and his friends are starting an RP server. Oh my gosh, let's go join them. And so right now the server has like 500 people in it, but we have about 250 whitelisted, and our numbers are kind of low. We're coming out of the holiday season, so we're only about 14 to 19 people on the server at one time right now. But we're up a little bit higher. A couple months ago, we were like 50 people on at a time, which is pretty cool. So we're hoping to slowly build over the course of the year. But it was several years of like playing on other servers and like always chit chatting about starting something, and then
Right.
it took us about a year to build the server. So it took us all of 2021 to build it. We launched in March of 2022, and we've had it up since then. And it's gone through a lot of dramatic change. We've had staff members leave, staff members come and join us. We've had players come and leave. We've had new code get dropped on us. It has been an experience, that is for sure. But it's fun. We enjoy it. We like being able to have our fun, safe space to tell stories and be creative and allow people to do the same, which is a lot of fun. So
Dude, I mean that
yeah,
sounds fucking amazing. Like
it's
for
pretty cool.
real.
Yeah, it's
Because
awesome.
I always loved I played GTA 5. I played the campaign,
Yeah.
story mode, whatever. I don't know, two or three times.
Yeah, it's a good
Uh
campaign. It's fun.
I loved it, man. The
Yeah.
voice acting was
Mhm.
awesome. Some of the cutscenes were great. And I really get into that. And I've been a gamer for, a big part of my life.
Sure.
And I actually ran a GameStop for 3 years when I first moved. The first three
Oh,
years we
very
lived in,
cool.
yeah, we grew up in, my wife and I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. We've
Okay.
been down here for 15 years in South Carolina. The first 3 years we were here, I ran a GameStop.
Okay.
So this is back in '07 to 2010.
Okay.
And so right after Halo 3 came out
Mhm.
is when I started running this one here. So GTA 4, which
Yeah.
was a big breakthrough
Oh, yeah, that
in
was
the
a huge
GTA
thing.
games because
Yeah.
that changed. They that changed their model
Yeah. Their
forever.
entire, like, focus of game well, actually, I think it
Yes,
really changed with San Andreas, but GTA 4 was the first time that they added in all these new elements to that immersive
right.
storytelling world, and it was much more open world than it was before, and
Yeah.
the voice act oh, yeah, yeah, I love it.
They put, I think it was, I think they said it was $100 million that they put that was into that game,
That makes sense.
uh,
Yeah.
into GTA 4, and it was a huge
Oh, yeah.
risk.
Yeah.
Coming out of San Andreas,
Yep.
and it was, the story was immersive, like the
Mhm.
characters were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Brucey, right?
Yeah.
Fucking coked up
Yep, yep.
bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was really, really cool. So I was there for I ran the GameStop for that launch when we
Mhm.
did midnight launch for that. It was awesome,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
I remember
so
midnight launches, man. That was that no one
bro,
cares anymore, but midnight launches, man, those were the hype. That was the thing to do.
I mean, it was really like the airsoft community for gaming stuff
Oh,
when new games
100%.
came out.
Yeah.
It was everyone came there for the midnight release. Yeah, they were excited about getting the game that night instead of the next morning,
Yeah.
but they're there to hang out and
Yep.
with everyone else and talk about this and talk about, hey, did you play the last game of this? Did you
Yep.
play?
It was the
Like,
experience of the midnight release, not just the game. It was going to with
yeah,
your buddies like, "Hey, we're gonna meet up at 11. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna hang," like,
yes.
it was a thing. I only think I went to one midnight release, but I had buddies that went to other ones, and it was just like,
We're all
it
standing
was a
around
thing.
crushing like Mountain Dew Code Reds and
Mountain Dew Code
like
Reds, Balls Energy, like,
balls.
yeah.
Oh, you remember balls?
I
Holy
actually I
shit!
actually was introduced to balls when I moved here, so it was not when I was younger, but, like,
Right.
my buddies were, like, all into Balls Energy, and, yeah, it was dude, Balls is so good.
For anyone that doesn't know, Balls Energy is BAWLS. Okay,
Yep.
and this is so the original iteration of this, or the original recipe of that,
Yeah.
back in the late '90s, early 2000s when Balls came out,
Yep.
had ephedra in it,
No
and
way.
we were talk about speed. No shit.
No wonder
Me and my
everybody was
buddies.
up for the midnight releases. They were blitzed out of
No,
their minds.
it was so ephedra. Anyone
Yeah.
that doesn't know, ephedra was outlawed years ago. So it was really
So
ephedra was
funny.
what the original speed back in the '60s and '70s was
Yep.
made of. The little white pills and stuff we used to take when I was in high school. And so when Balls came out, me and my buddies were building our. I was out of the military. I was starting a family, and I was gaming with a handful of friends, and they were all like into computers, like.
Yeah.
They worked in that field, like networking, the
Mhm.
hard line stuff or whatever, setting up all that kind of stuff, or the software. And so we would do LAN parties. We would lug our big towers and our even bigger
Yes.
monitors because
Yes.
the CRT monitors were
It wasn't like, "I'm gonna
this
grab my
deep.
laptop." It was, "Let me fill my truck up so I can get everything over there." Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
you're carrying that CRT monitor, with the front of it
On
facing your
your
chest
chest.
because
Yep.
it's so top heavy,
You don't
front
want it
heavy.
to crack or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that I miss
We
LAN
used to
parties.
lug all those to my buddy's place and do, we'd have 12, 15 of us doing a LAN party,
Yep.
and we would
Yep.
hook them all up, and we would do Unreal Tournament, the original Unreal Tournament, the
Yes,
original
UT.
Counter Strike, and
Yes.
the original Quake, bro. I
I didn't
mean,
play Quake, but I played UT 2004,
yeah,
Battlefield 1941 or 1942,
that
um,
was awesome too.
Empire, Earth, of course, anything from Command and Conquer, um,
Yes.
Medal, like the original Medal of Honor, original Call of Duty.
Oh shit.
Oh, what else did we play? I remember because so I lived. This was when I was still living in California. I didn't have like a gaming setup, but I lived
Hmm.
next door to a bunch of. So it was a very large family. They had 12 kids, and most of the boys in that family had computers, and so they'd run these LAN parties all the time. They'd invite me over, and we would be in this little double wide trailer. That was their house,
Yeah.
and it was like this Ethernets all over the floor. They moved sofas. They were pushed up against the walls. People were playing cross-legged, like up against their screens. They had
Oh my
four
god.
different computers in every room, and it was just like absolute chaos, controlled chaos in
Yeah.
these LAN parties. And yeah, it was all that. It was so funny because I was the weird kid that like I didn't have my own setup, and I was just the friend of the friend basically. So I
Yeah.
was allowed to go watch. So I didn't actually get to play at these LAN parties, but even being a part of it, like you said before, like
Right.
airsoft, like culture, it's the same thing. Like just being at the LAN party with your chips and nachos, and your Mountain Dew Code Red, and whatever, and you're just sugar high out of your mind. Even just being a part and watching everybody fight, you can like you'll hear somebody yelling in the room because they got hit and like, damn you, dude, you shot me, and like from across the house. And it was just like people are like, well, you can do that online now. It's like it's not the same.
It's
It's
not
yeah,
the
we can all
same.
sit in a Discord chat and we can play a game.
It's not the same.
It's a completely different vibe.
Being
Being
close
in
in
yeah,
proximity,
yep,
like
yep,
literally, where your
yep,
human bodies are close to each other, and you're yelling from room to
yep,
room.
yep.
You got, I'm gonna
And you
get
don't
you.
need comms because you just scream across the house, "Hey,
Yes,
dude, we're
right.
pushing left!" Like, yeah, yeah. I miss those days. And I've tried to like, hey, we can set up a LAN party. The problem is like PC, like now I can't move this setup. I have a PC here
Uh,
and a PC here. I have four monitors, two lights, and a partridge in a pear tree. I
yeah.
cannot put this in a car and transport it to a buddy's house for a game. It doesn't happen. So,
No shit, right?
Yeah.
I think the next step to kind of get close to that, instead of bringing that back where we all lug our shit
Yeah.
somewhere, is the VR. I don't know,
I
you
think
know,
it's
because I think
close. I
that
think
gives
it's
a
similar
it's
to
not gonna be the exact same,
no.
but yeah,
I think it's close. I think that, or even just like, because I've done this before, where we just sit in Discord chat, we all turn our cameras on, so we're video chatting as we're playing.
yeah,
It's similar. It's a similar vibe, but nothing will ever replicate an
uh,
actual, legitimate, good old fashioned LAN party. It'll
for
never be
real, bro.
replicated. Yeah.
That's true.
And
That's true.
honestly, I think that's part of why I enjoy airsoft, is because it's that same vibe of there's a
Yes.
competition, there's adrenaline, there's just that energy, and you're interacting with other people, and you have a team versus team. I think it's just something a part of not exclusive to just men, because obviously there's a lot of girls that play airsoft as well.
Right. Right.
I think it's definitely like built into our DNA, a sense of competition, of struggle, and
Yes.
actually being able to exercise that in an environment where it's not like I'm in my bedroom with my lights off in my little headphones playing a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's there, but if I, like, get upset, I'm gonna break something against a wall, right? Like, I'm not gonna be like, "Ow," and I'm just gonna yell or something out in the 80-acre quarry.
Right.
It's a different, like, way of exerting that sense of, like, "I need to fight." Like, I don't know how else to
You
explain
know,
it.
I think we just came up with the next idea for, for field owners like that are big, that are doing well
Yeah,
at their field, like Ballahack, whatever, that have some land.
yeah,
Okay, build a giant like pole barn. Okay,
okay,
set it up as concrete slab. You got deck it out
yep.
inside. All just like a land set it up like a land party. So
I think there's
computer, right? Like
yeah,
just all these monitors in there, have it cool gaming set up in
there
there,
you
and
go.
then so the people that don't want to play, maybe they want to hang out for the
Yep,
day, they're in there playing while everyone's out playing airsoft,
there you
or
go.
take
I
turns
think
coming in.
actually I can't remember what it was. I think I watched a video. I think it was from Jet Desert Fox, and he went to some field somewhere, and their staging area doubles as a LAN room because the way
Oh
they have all their
shit!
tables set up. I
Yeah.
think if I remember correctly, he was saying it doubles as a LAN party room because
Oh,
it's
that's
literally
awesome.
built for it. Like it's
Yeah.
okay, you can either put all your gear here or you can put a computer here. Like it's just those like long rows of tables. So I think
Gotcha.
some people out there are already kind of on board with this idea of like, well, we can tap into the airsofters or we can tap into the gamers. We can just
Yeah.
combine the two. I think it's pretty cool now, just where airsofts come is they're already tapping into the gamers with some of the new tech that's coming out. Like even so in my second video, I was playing the CQB game.
Hmm.
And the respawn system was new to me. I hadn't been there when I played before. And it
Oh,
it
okay.
starts to feel like a little video game because like there's this really cool little respawn box. And you have to push the button, it has a little light that spins,
Hmm.
and it counts a death for your team. So that they can actually track temporarily from game to game how many deaths each team has, which they can in
Gotcha.
turn track how many kills each team got. So it's
Yeah.
I think there's strides being made to kind of include technology into airsoft more to make it feel look more like a video game, which is pretty
Right.
cool. So I'm hoping I get to experience more of that because I've seen some out there like on the internet, but I've never gotten to experience it yet.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of that, like tracking stuff, this have you heard of this skirmish?
I hadn't until I watched your video the other day with MK
Oh,
MK Airsoft.
yeah,
I had never heard of it. That's super cool. You can track stats. That's really neat.
bro.
I think it's pretty cool.
Their website is it's banging, man. They're ramping up. They're going to be doing they're part of the NSL tournaments that are coming out at Shot Zone.
Oh yeah, I've heard about those. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the Speedsoft community is just as big as and passionate. Probably more so, I think, because it's really competitive, like
Yeah.
legitimate. This
There's
is
actual
like a
competition
real
going on. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Um, Whereas like the Mill Sims, I guess compared to the Mill Sims, most people don't really care who wins. Um,
Yeah, it's more about the experience than the
yeah,
actual like end result of the day, which I respect. That's kind of how I am with airsoft as
yeah.
well. But I definitely
Especially
see like the competition side of it from Speedsoft for sure.
right. Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. Is there's something for everybody. So if
Yeah.
somebody wants to go gung ho into the really competitive and that kind of thing, they have a venue for that. But yeah, the skirmish thing, it's very simple
Yep.
setup as far as on the user end.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so you just strap this bracelet on, and it's an RFID reader or whatever, that the
Okay.
box that it taps on. You
Yeah.
just tap it and tap and go. So, like what you're saying, there's a lot of like a milsim or what you're talking about, where the event you went to has a little button you push
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
hold it, and it does this thing. Um, Similar type of thing. So you'll most of the milsims have those type of things where you flip a switch and it counts like a timer and that kind of thing for your team. Whereas the in that box can only do that at
Yeah.
these milsims, but the skirmish system can be programmed to do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you
That's
want it
super
to be a
cool.
medic station, so you've got a whatever, or a checkpoint that you have to hold for X amount of seconds or
Hmm.
minutes to actually capture it. So somebody, your teammate has to hold their wristband on there on that box, and then the timer starts, and you got to
Yeah.
hold it there for without getting killed, without leaving that spot, whatever. You can program these things. It's a fascinating system to me,
That's
and
cool.
it's a worldwide leaderboard that is going. So if I have this and this is registered to me, and I go to play at, if your field that is close to you, like your buddy's field,
Yeah.
has this skirmish system, I can go play there. It tracks all my progress,
Hmm.
and then to wherever I go, it
Yeah.
tracks,
I like that.
all
That's
that kind
cool.
of.
I think
It's
I remember like I was because like I said, I was exposed to this skirmish system when you were doing the podcast with MK.
yeah,
And I think what's really cool about it is it gives that opportunity and that ability, which is great. I definitely see like because airsoft is 100% an honor system. Like it is
yes,
1,000. Like the airsoft cannot exist if people are lying and cheating. It's
yep,
just cannot exist. So I think if it's a system that is, it reliant on that honor system, it makes it a little
right,
bit trickier to like truly track stats because it's like, for me
yes,
as a gamer, I come across people all the time who are willing to like cut corners because people can hack and cheat very easily in a video
right,
game environment. So it's like if someone's got the skirmish system and they're like, oh, I'm really close to like overtaking somebody in this leaderboard. If I get hit during this whatever, I don't make it or whatever, they're going to be
yeah,
more willing to maybe cut corners and not call a hit or something.
yeah. The
Whereas
the
if there's
points that Gabriel brought up for the
Mhm.
MK one, really good points.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I like bringing it up to people. I like talking about whatever it is, a skirmish or any kind of new system or technology that's coming out that's going to advance or
hmm
enhance the experience for airsoft players. I like bringing it up in conversation,
sure,
like because that's where these different ideas come from, and problems, like
yeah.
or I guess being aware of what could happen.
What
Like,
could go wrong?
oh
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
So he had some really good points. So that is, yeah, it's just that's one of those things where I thought, hey, what's the next thing for airsofters, especially at bigger events? Oh, like tracking their own, like if they want to track their own progress, kind
yeah,
of thing, So, and that's something the leaderboard thing, as far as the cheating thing or whatever, the guy with Brandon for skirmish.
hmm
I think they've made an adjustment recently to their website to where it automatic when you log in to your login,
uh-huh.
it'll automatically show you the default setting. I guess is to show you your local team
Oh,
or
okay. Oh,
your
that's cool.
local
Yeah,
field
yeah,
instead of the national like
yeah,
total leaderboard or something, world
yeah. Like
leaderboard.
global leaderboard or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right. It'll show your local one
That's cool.
first, and you can choose to go look at the bigger one. But I guess that really helps a lot because there's a lot of players that, especially indoor players, younger, whatever, they're not going to travel from Missouri to California,
For a
three
game.
times in the next couple months or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's so yeah, there's definitely some room for improvement on some of that stuff. But I love to see these new things that are coming out. Like
yeah,
you said, when you're a MOSFET, you're like, what happened since
yeah,
I came back? What in the
yeah.
world?
It's so true. Like so, right now, like I'm sure you're aware, Shot Show is either I think just wrapping
Hmm.
up today or tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
And my buddy's there with their team. They're over at in Vegas, and
nice.
he's sending pictures back of just some of the stuff that's like coming out or people are working on, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is like it blows your mind really because it's like we're talking about shooting little plastic BBs, and everyone's like,
Yes.
how can we best shoot this plastic BB that way, really, really fast or really, really accurate, or
Yeah.
in this many. It's just I love it because it's a golden opportunity for innovation. It's a golden opportunity for new ideas and new things that can be brought in. And if they don't work, they don't work. Because like
Right.
um so my buddy is actually credited. I don't know if it was the first or um the whatever, but one of the AC-97 Claymore, the airsoft Claymore that
Really?
that you've seen, he designed it with his brother.
Holy
Um,
shit.
yeah, and so, like, again, an example of, like, "Hey, you know what'd be really cool in airsoft? A claymore, like, that would be really cool. What's the best way we can do that?" And they came up with a system that's reusable, that works, that doesn't hurt people,
Yeah.
that you can and I think it's what the first reusable claymore is what it was. I think that was the thing. It's the one that has a little hammock that, like, boop, and it
Oh,
just,
that's
like, throws
awesome.
them out.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of stuff. It's like it's so simple, but it's a golden opportunity to try new things that way. What's also really cool is how people get creative on their own without designing some new product. Like I still remember people getting really creative, whatever they could come up with back in the day of some duct tape and some string to try and make a tripwire of an airsoft thing, or um, or just whatever you can come up with because it's airsoft and it's basically it's imagination at its core. I mean,
Right.
at its ultimate core, it's an imagination hub. And so, like, what can you come up with to make the game more fun, or to make the game unique, or to give yourself a little bit of a leg up, or something like that? That's still within
For
the rules.
sure.
It's cool. It's an opportunity to be kids as adults, and I think that's something to aspire to in some sort of capacity.
When I played paintball back in the 90s, I remember when paintball grenades came out.
Oh yeah.
And you know what a paintball grenade was? It was literally, it looked like the inner tube for our bike tires that was cut to like, 12 inches,
Uh huh.
folded in half,
I think
or
I've
maybe
seen these.
stuffed with paint.
Yeah.
They injected paint and filled it with paint and folded it in half,
Yeah.
sealed the ends, and and it was some kind of contraption where, that held it together.
Uh huh.
And when you throw it, the impact was supposed to, basically knock this little rubber band or whatever,
Uh huh.
knock it loose, and it would just, because of the pressure of it,
Yeah.
would
Just
open up,
you
and it was
paint.
just a straight tube that would just go like this and spray paint everywhere. They never worked, bro. They sucked. They were horrible.
I mean, the airsoft grenades, unless you pay a lot of money for like one of the actual pyro ones, they're kind of the same. Like, so I just got right before my last game, I bought a pack of Thunder Bees. I don't know if you've ever seen those before.
I've not
They're
seen
the
them in person, but I've seen them on video. Yeah.
yeah. So I bought it, never used it. I didn't know what to expect, and I was chatting with another guy there who had also just gotten a pack of them, and so we were talking through like the struggles of them, and finally at the end of the day, I had an opportunity to actually use it. I'm like, okay, I can use the Thunder Bee and I can get a kill with it. And I knew from talking to a couple other people, like they go off really fast, like they're unreliably fast. And so I threw it. I mean, it had barely left my hand. It went pop midair, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh
Like,
shit!
so I'm like, all right. And so the guy I was talking to is like, we were trying to figure out just MacGyver esque ways of making it take a little bit longer to go off. And so we started wrapping our tubes, the shells, in either duct tape, or I use masking tape to help hold the pressure in a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Essentially, what it's doing is you're puncturing a CO2 cartridge so when you pull the pin and you throw it, the spoon is released by a spring,
yeah.
smacks a hammer. That hammer has this really, really sharp point that punctures the top of the CO2
Oh,
cartridge,
okay.
and all of the CO2 is released into the shell. And so basically all that pressure is building up, and when it builds up to a point,
Ah,
it ruptures, and that's when it goes pop. And these
gotcha.
new daredevils, I think is what they're called, or yeah, they're daredevils. They have a seam along the side that's weaker plastic than the rest. So it's
Yeah.
designed to rupture faster and rupture at a certain point. But when it's rupturing like pop, like immediately, it's like, okay, I need to go a
Yeah.
little bit longer than that. So we started wrapping it to see if we can. And it was funny because he wrapped his all the way around in duct tape, and so it took about a 2 or 3 seconds longer to go off, which is not doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot when you're throwing something.
Holy
And
crap.
the bottom blew out, which what we
Ah,
expected, but the pressure was so much because it was held in for so long.
yeah.
The core, which is reusable with the pin and the spoon, just shot out like a rocket, and we watched it just go, "Poof," and it was gone. I'm like, and he wrapped it in like really bright orange tape so we could see it. But he's like, if I didn't wrap
Oh,
that in orange tape, that's gone. It just, I mean, it was just
oh
like
my
it was
God.
like a
For
bottle rocket.
real.
It was so funny. And we're like, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else. But yeah,
That's hilarious.
it's just crazy,
Okay. No,
like
I
what
never
people
knew
come up
how
with.
so I've heard so many people talk about Thunderbees, or, I've
Yeah.
heard the name, but I didn't know how they worked.
Yeah. It's basically
Okay.
there's a silver core in there that has a screw on both ends, and one goes into the spoon and everything. the other end is just a cap, and you slide the cartridge in there and screw it all together. And if the hammer is pulled back and you have the spoon all prepped,
Mm,
it's fine. But as soon as you pull the pin and like release it from your hand, the
yeah.
spoon like flies out as like one big piece, and the hammer's
Uh,
underneath that. It's just got a really tight spring, and it just snaps down. And as soon as that hits, I mean, it's like almost instant. So it's like you have to.
right.
It's great if you want to clear a room, like if you want to just like button hook it around
Right.
a
That's
corner.
probably what it's for.
That's exactly what it's for. It's not built for like when I was outside wanting to throw it a little ways
Throwing it
into a
like
bush.
chucking that thing 30
Yeah,
feet.
yeah. Well, it wasn't even that far. It was like maybe 10 feet, and it didn't even make it like it made it into the air. Would have counted as a kill if I'd gotten the guy, but I didn't. But it's still just it was super fast pop. I was like,
Now
okay,
this
that's
is it's just pyro. There's no BBs in it, right?
you can so these new ones are designed so you can put BBs in them
Oh,
because they have a
okay.
seam where they're going to rupture, so it's going to come out on a certain point. Because apparently the
Hmm.
older models of Thunder Bees weren't as reliable; they would just break wherever they broke, and so the
Gotcha.
BBs never were consistent. This particular
Mm,
design is designed to be consistent with where its rupture is, so the BBs come out in one point. It's still a singular point, but from
yeah.
everything I've heard, because of the way it works, because like I said, it's building up air pressure.
Yeah.
Well, if you're removing some of the empty space in the container by filling it up with BBs, pressure now has less time to build up because
Oh
there's less
shit.
air to build up. And
Right.
so they pop even faster. So like they will literally go off in your hand in theory if you put a bunch of BBs in there. Because I was talking to one of the techs down at the shop when I was buying it, and he goes, "Yeah, you can put BBs in there. It might go off in your hand, but you can put BBs in there." And I was like, I'll just stick with like a nice good pop. Sounds good to me.
Bro,
Because like
for
they're
real.
already going off like wicked fast. So the idea of it going off like I was so nervous because people kept telling me it could go off so quickly that I was like I had it in a pouch right here, and I kept checking it like all day. Like, is this thing gonna go off in my vest? And just like, because I didn't know what it was gonna do. And so then it went off like, okay, that's not as big of a pop as I thought, and it did give it a second. So
Yeah.
it's just fun.
One of the guys I talked to in the UK like a month and a half ago or so, freelance airsoft.
Mhm.
He was telling me about he was at the field. He had a grenade strapped to his belt or whatever,
Huh?
um, kind of in the front by your front pocket, whatever.
Mhm.
So the thing fell off, and he had the I don't know what kind of grenade it was, what kind of pyro it was, but it had the detonator, the charge,
Yeah.
whatever, and then the spoon was right there.
Uh-huh.
So the actual body of it, I guess, kind of broke and fell off as he was running and
Sure.
crawling around and shit. So he looked down and this thing was hanging there, and he's like, "Oh shit!" So he tried to pull it off. It pulled the spoon, and it blew up.
Oh no.
Just the charge. So the
Yeah.
the grenade part was gone, but it blew up on his thigh by his
Ooh.
pants. It burned a hole in his pants.
Yeah, I bet it did.
He said, he goes, so I just stopped what I was doing and I pulled my pants down because I didn't want to get burnt. And I said,
Guys just out there and there's dropping trout. Like, don't mind me, guys. It's fine.
bro, I was like, and he's like, this middle of action and all
Yeah.
this shit. And I said, so what did everyone say when you're dropping, you're sitting there in your boxers? What the
Yeah.
fuck? And it was just the way he, told the
Sure.
story. It was
Yeah.
really funny. I
That's great.
thought,
I was
oh my God, good thing it wasn't, closer to your nuts, bro. That would hurt.
Well, so this is an old one, but I was watching one of Kicking Mustangs videos from a while back, and he was prone on some like road or something, and somebody saw him from an angle he wasn't looking and threw one of those pyros, like the black ones, and it literally like on his camera, you see it land like right here, and it like rolls under him, and it goes
Oh
off
my
like right
God.
here, and like he has like in slow mo, like going off underneath him, and he rolls over and he yells out and everything, and I didn't see it, like burn a hole, but I was like, I was nervous. That was like, wow, those things must be intense. So then fast forward now to my game that I'm working on the video now, but I'm just slow. Where so we were playing Conquest, and the way the map is laid out is you have this kind of large town that has a bunch of buildings, and then there's like a hill that has like two roads on either side go around this big gigantic hill up to the top, and there's like a little prison up here. And so conquest is you have to grab one building here, then the defending team moves to the prison, and then you move back to the town. So you do a little circle. And we were on the final round where we were back in the town, and we were holding this two-story building called the Armory. And I'm on top, and I'm laying down fire in one area, and I turn around because there's a guy behind us on the hill. And as I turn around, I see this little black dot flying in from nowhere. I'm like, what is that? And as I get closer, I realize, oh no, that's a grenade. And I'm watching it fly in towards my face. I duck. It almost hits my head, lands right behind my butt, and goes off. Thankfully, it was one of the little ones that just goes kind of pop and throws the big 8mm BBs, the P grenades, whatever they're called.
Oh,
So it didn't like it wasn't like a big boom. It didn't like set anything on fire or anything like that. But I mean, I was just like, that's a grenade and it's coming right at me. And apparently the guy was, I ended up watching the video back. He was probably 75 feet out,
holy
at least.
shit.
And he just Kobe'd it from like I didn't even see him throw it, and apparently one of the refs was laughing when it happened because he's like, "I watched that. I just watched it go up and over right into where you were. It was a perfect throw into this little bunker on the second floor that I was at." And I was like, "That was an unbelievable throw, man! Like that was crazy." He's like, "I can't believe I hit that." And then the game ended up ending, and they ended up winning. But it was just like the most unbelievable grenade throw. So I was like nervous as it's flying in. All I can think is, I'm gonna catch on fire. This is what's gonna happen right now. It was
In the
crazy.
face.
Yeah, it almost did. If I had just turned around like a half second later, it would have smacked me right in the middle of my mask.
Oh
Like
my
it would have
god.
been, yeah.
Have you seen the video where the guy, they're in the woods, so it's kind of
Mhm.
like a milsim setup, whatever. And they're all geared up,
Yeah.
and somebody shoots a tag in. I think it
Oh no.
bounces and gets stuck right here in between the guy's like chest
Oh
thing
no.
and it like on his neck.
Yeah.
And the guy that's filming, has a GoPro on his helmet,
Mhm.
is off to the right side of this guy, and you see it, and they slow motion,
Yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those. So it bounces, goes right up, gets stuck, and the guy like turns to try to like get
Yeah.
away from it, and it blows up, and the guy just falls down. Like when you first see this video happen in real time, like
Yeah.
real speed, whatever, it is. It is one of those like oh my god moments
Like what just
where you're like,
happened?
holy shit, is he dead?
Yeah.
Um, so he was fine, it
Oh,
just
good.
rattled
Okay.
him,
Yeah.
but it is insane
Well, and
how like
tag-ins are no joke.
for
Like
real.
it's not like a little pop from a thunder bee or a pea grenade. Like a tag-in goes off, and if you don't have ear pro, you're deaf. Like it's just as
No
simple as that.
shit.
Well, I will say those little launch ones, from what I've seen, they do go pop, but they're not as loud as like the big flashbang ones that they've got.
Right.
Like,
So that's something new to me. I just found out. We tried out on our channel. We had one of the guys. This is like 2.5 years ago.
uh-huh.
One of our viewers had the actual tag-in launcher that shoots
Okay.
those. What we're talking about here, and
Yeah.
that was what the guy got shot with in the
Okay.
video.
Gotcha.
It wasn't one of the handheld ones
Yeah.
that you throw,
Yeah.
which I think I've heard that those tag-in grenades that you throw
Yeah.
are a huge ass boom.
Oh,
But
they're
this
massive.
one was one of those Reaper rounds that
Okay.
shot from one of these barrels.
Yeah.
So you shoot it, and so luckily it was something like that. But those still go off pretty.
Oh, they're not quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. But they're not as
Oh
bad
man.
as those bigger ones that
Yeah.
I've heard of.
I was watching a video, Novrich posted it not too long ago, and they got a shipment from Tagin of like all their brand new like pyro to try out.
Nice.
And they were at one of their fields somewhere trying it out. And I mean, and they were fucking loud, man. They were so like they were trying them outside, and even that they were like they were jumping and like covering their ears and everything. And they're like, we should test it inside the warehouse. And so they walk into this warehouse, and again, all of them are covering their ears and have an ear pro and everything. And it went off, and it was like, obviously you're hearing it through a camera, so grain of
Right.
salt being applied. It's still just like, how is this an airsoft? That's an actual like stun grenade. That's what like SWAT
Yes.
teams are using to clear rooms. That is no joke. Like, why are they giving airsofters this? We are not the good people to be giving this to. We will do something stupid with it.
Oh, because airsofters treat it like a video game where you have
Oh,
endless
100%.
supplies. So they
Yeah.
bring boxes and
Yep.
boxes and boxes,
Yep.
and when you get into that point where, so what I've seen is when there's this choke point or a building or whatever, there
They're just
one
lobbing
after the
them.
other, one
Yep.
after the other, one after
Yep.
the other. It is yeah. I remember the first time my sons came back from one of the bigger milsims they went to, one of the first
Uh-huh.
ones, and they came back, and it was at GTI that
Okay.
Third Coast Airsoft puts on. It might have been Stonebreaker, it might have been Iron Dagger or something like that, but they came back and they're like, we need to get Ear Pro because we didn't
Now.
have any. And yeah, they were, I mean, it
Oh
hurt, like
man,
they
I'll
said, it
bet.
hurt their ears. They came
Yeah.
out, they couldn't hear for hours, it was
Yeah.
ringing so loud.
Yeah.
But they got stuck in a building and
Oh
just getting
no.
pelted.
Oh, that's the worst. Like, it's one thing if you're outside, like at least it dissipates, but inside
Right.
it's just gonna. Oh man, what? Maybe it's GTI. I can't remember the field. That's like it's it's like it looks like a big concrete factory, essentially. It's like those really tall buildings. It's just basically I can't remember what it is, but I've seen a lot of Milsim events at there. And like, yeah, it's just these hallways and they're just chucking grenades
Yeah.
down and you just hear it ring all the way through. And I'm like, man,
Yes.
that would be so painful without Ear Pro. Like, and I don't have Ear Pro because I've never needed it, but I want to go to some of these events at least sometime in the near future. And I'm just like, man, I got a whole other kit I got to buy if I want to go to some of these events. Otherwise, I am
Yeah.
doomed. It is no
Get one
joke.
of those. Yeah. Invest in an active ear pro.
Yep.
I didn't know. I had those little yellow
Yeah.
earplug
Little
things.
foam ones that you just roll up.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we used in the military
Mhm.
back when I was in, and we didn't have the active whatever. I didn't
The
even know what
contacts or
active ear
whatever,
pro
yeah.
was. Yeah, because we didn't have we used the comms we used. I told this guy the podcast I did with this guy. His YouTube channel is Muddy
Yeah,
Reviews.
I watched that one, yeah.
Did you? Okay. So he's in the Navy and he's about to retire. So we were talking about, and I said during the podcast, he said something about comms, and I'm like, I don't know shit, bro. The thing I said we used the Prick 77. So this is if you look at this carried over from Vietnam.
Mhm.
So it's a giant green box
Oh, I know what you're
that
talking about. Yeah, the big green radio box you carry in your pack. Yeah,
yep,
yep.
and it's got the 30-foot
Yeah,
flip antenna, whatever they call that. So or whip antenna. So yeah, that's what I used. So no
gotcha.
one in our platoons had actual comms that you talk
Yeah,
about today, where you have like these, like
yep,
no, that wasn't even a thing. I think special operators had them back then or
sure,
something,
yeah.
but we never saw those. So he's like, oh shit. So when my sons were telling me about this active ear pro,
Mhm.
uh, they told me about it. I think in that podcast with Muddy, I talked about that where the experience I had when I put
Yeah,
them on and I put the batteries in and I turned it on. I
yeah.
didn't know that it amplified sound,
Oh, yeah.
but then when it's loud sound, then
It just
it
peaks it.
muffles it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a
So
pair
I'm
of,
sitting
shooting
there.
headphones that do that.
Yeah, I'm like clapping. I'm like, oh my god, this is cool as hell.
Yeah.
And then the air conditioner kicks on, and the noise of the air coming out of the vents as I'm standing in a
Uh-huh.
small enclosed bedroom, um, I hear this really loud, and I'm like, oh my god, they're messing up. Maybe I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I thought I messed up I thought it was messing up. Maybe the battery's wigging out or something, or I didn't know, or maybe one of these little tabs that's on here, buttons are on here. I don't have it pushed
Sure.
right or something.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, oh, then I realized it was it's amplifies.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a wind turbine at that point. Yeah.
Right.
I got,
So like turn them down.
yeah, I have a pair of just shooter headphones you get like Bass Pro or Walmart or
Yeah.
something. It's the same thing. It's active ear pro, but it's not
Okay.
nearly the quality of like a ComTac or something. But it's the same like concept. And I actually now have a pair of earbuds that do that. They're Bluetooth. They're called Axle. And so they're literally earbuds, but they're active ear pro. And so they do the same thing. They'll amplify around surround audio and then they'll cap audio. So it's great for like shooting real steel.
I just saw something on that. Okay.
Yeah, my mom got them for me for Christmas a couple years ago, and they're great for
Nice.
going out and shooting real steel. But it's the same concept, and again, it's like, oh, this is kind of cool. I can hear everything. Like, it's one of those things
Oh,
where
that's wild.
the troublemaker in me kind of wants to like wear them to work, and like I'm listening to music, but I can hear somebody have a conversation like an office away or something, just to like
Oh shit.
time out. Like I'm like, I wonder if that would work. Like hear who's getting a raise down the hall. Like,
Oh, that'd be awesome. Transfer that to your phone and then record it. Okay.
there you go. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is though these ones are actually Bluetooth, so you can you can have the active ear pro on and be streaming music through them at the same time, and it'll still like cap out audio from the surround area, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool as hell,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. I don't know if
Fix my
they might work in an airsoft environment, but they're not going to be like if you're wanting comms, they wouldn't really do that because they're not going to have like a microphone or anything. But
Oh, gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just earbuds. But I still
Yeah.
need to get a comm set up. That was actually ironically that's what I was going to go get this morning.
Yeah.
There's a gun show in town, and it's a pretty big one. And they have a guy up there that sells the Baofeng radios that
Yeah.
everybody uses.
Hmm.
He has a table that he sells them there, and I was like, man, I can go up and get like a whole kit. And I slept in because yesterday was my birthday, and I was up too late. And I was like, all
Oh
right,
shit!
so
Happy birthday, bro.
thank you. Yeah, I turned 30 yesterday, so
Oh my god.
yeah,
What a
so
milestone. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit. So, but yeah, because of that, I didn't make it to the gun show. But I do need to get a comm set up at some point. That's like one of the next things on my list of things I need to get. Because like even our local pickup games, there's a group there. They call themselves the Renegades, and they all have I've been hanging out with them every time. They're a really good group of guys, and they all have Baofangs, and so they're all communicating and talking like,
Right.
"All right, we're pushing left," and I'm just like, "I'm going this way." Yeah, I'm going okay, and like I have to yell really loud,
Hand
and, like
signals.
make hand motions, and I'm like, I don't know what this means, but I'm going this way. Like, so yeah, like okay,
That's
I'll
funny,
tell
man.
you smoke signals. Like it is fine.
Now, as far as the your birthday and stuff,
Mhm.
did 30 mess you up?
Nah,
The
not
idea of it?
really.
Okay,
No,
good.
the way I look at it, I'm like, man, my 20s kind of sucked. I'm kind of ready for my 30s. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So
Well, you look awesome, man. You
well,
look
thank you.
young. Yeah, you look young. You're
Appreciate
in
that.
shape. You got, and 30. I think 30. Well, it used to mess a lot of people up. Years and years ago, I think it was because when you're okay. So you come out of your teens.
Yeah,
Now you're 20. So
yeah,
your 20s is typically when your freedom, right? So your
yeah,
freedom. You're still young, energetic. You have all this. You're usually kind of by yourself.
yeah,
So you still have money. You don't have a bunch of kids that you're spending money. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, and then and so you do a bunch of you test out the world, right? You
Pretty
go
much. Yeah.
travel. You try different things.
Yep.
And then 30, it's like I remember when my mom talked about it. I don't remember when she turned 30, but when she talked about turning 30, she it was like this huge thing, and
I
I guess
know. Like a
back
lot of people
then,
are that way.
yeah, when the 80s, like people would turn
Yeah.
30, they're like, "Oh my
My
god,
life's
it's the end
over.
of the fucking world." Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're not even halfway there. Like, chill out. Like, you're fine.
Yes.
Like,
I really
yeah.
think that's carried over, back then I think it was carried over this mentality. It was carried over from years and years before that where
Yeah.
the life expectancy was still a lot
Yeah.
lower. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I think so as well.
So,
I think it's a mixture of that as well as like, if you look at like biblical times, people were getting married in their teens, and
yep.
that was like late in life, which is weird to even comprehend. Because I'm
Yeah,
like, I
no
remember when I was a
shit.
teenager, I was not ready for that. But like now, that's not the case anymore, and people are getting married in their 20s and 30s, and that's
Yeah.
more the norm. And so it's weird because everyone keeps asking me like, "Oh, you're 30. What does it feel like?" I don't know. It feels like 4 days ago. Like I don't know. It's like, what
No
do you want from
shit.
me? Like it's
Yeah,
like,
it's the same as last year, whatever.
yeah. Well, and like because my birthday's at the beginning of the year, like as soon as New Year's hits, my mind is already like into the next year. So it's like it to me,
Right.
it's the 2.5 ish 3 weeks, whatever, until the date of is like a formality. It's like okay, I've already aged, whatever. But yeah, no, it
Yeah.
hasn't messed. My friends were, my coworkers took me out for drinks last night, and they were asking me, so how's it feel? I'm like, oh, same, like kind
Yeah,
of
I
like
think, people say that obviously it's not, literally,
yeah,
I think it's just something to say, like
yeah,
how's it feel to be 30,
yeah.
kind of thing. Like, yeah, well, duh, it feels like yesterday. Like, what do you,
Yeah, like to me, the milestones are like 16 to get your driver's license,
right.
18 to vote, 21 to legally drink or purchase a handgun. Handgun was more the priority.
There you go.
25 to rent a car, and then you're
Yeah.
done. Like, or well,
Yeah,
20,
that's such a weird thing
25 to
too.
rent a car and not have to get drafted, and then and then after that is
Yeah, no
like,
shit, right? Yeah, those milestones, right, right.
yeah,
Yeah, because something actually happens
hmm,
at those ages,
yep,
right?
yes.
And
It's like
whereas,
a video game. You've achieved you've unlocked an achievement when you hit those points.
right,
30 is like it's like when you're playing Call of Duty and you unlock all the guns and you get to prestige and like cool, I hit prestige, and you keep leveling but nothing happens. That's to
nothing
me
happens. You don't
that's
get
30.
anything.
Yeah, that's 30 to me. Like yeah, okay, I'm 30. Cool.
No shit. Yeah,
Prestige
you don't
level
get
2, that's
anything. That is
all that
so
matters.
true. For real.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, the milestones in life are things that you get,
yeah.
or things that change when you turn those ages. Yeah.
Well, either that or I think milestones don't necessarily have to be an age either. I think like for me, milestone like you have those age milestones that are like really important when you're young of like, oh, I get this when I turn this age and this one. I
Yeah.
think after like I said, like 25, I think to me milestones are I've achieved a career goal. I've gotten married. I had my first
Yeah.
kid. I bought my first house. Whatever, like life experiences start to become
Yeah.
milestones. And then like to me, age has never really been like a super big number. Well, it used to be like you're young, you're like, oh, I want to be fill in the blank. But
Yep.
you get to a point, and this is actually in kind of a weird way ties into airsoft because you get to a point where age, for lack of a better term, even though it's turned into a joke, is just a number. And it, I think airsoft really kind of enhances that statement because I think MK was one who said on your podcast. It's the only sport I can think of that every age bracket can be on the field at one time. I'm 30 years old playing with 40-year-olds who are also playing with 12-year-olds who came out on the weekend with their dad, or 16-year-olds who just got their driver's license and drove up in their, their shitbox car they just got off Craigslist. Like it's a very unique experience because everybody gets to experience it all together. And so you have pros teaching newbies, you have mature adults that are teaching, immature kids, and it's or vice versa or whatever. And it's really cool that you get to have that kind of experience across all age brackets instead of just like, okay, the 20-year-olds are going to go play over here and the 40 plus year olds are going to play over here and all the newbies are going to play here. And like it doesn't have the same connection when you've got kids playing with adults, because like, so in the second video that I did of the CQB game, there was a
Hmm.
lot of new kids that were there. Like, for some bizarre reason, I just happened to show up on a night when there was just a lot of kids that had never
Okay.
played before, that were there with rentals or new Christmas presents that they were playing with.
Right.
And it reminded me, because even though I'm kind of new to I'm returning to it, not really new, but I'm returning to it. It just reminded me when I was a kid, and you don't understand airsoft. Like, you don't get it.
Hmm.
Like, all you know is you get to shoot each other with these guns, and oh, suddenly it hurts. And I was watching these kids, and you could tell they had never played because they're flinching really hard
Oh,
at everything. Like,
gotcha.
they're doing this all the time when somebody comes around a corner, or they're afraid to look around a corner, and it's like you just like you get up. Part of you gets upset, like, dude, just push the corner. But then the other part was like, no, this kid's new. He's starting somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe he's never been shot by an airsoft gun before, or he doesn't know how bad it's going to hurt, or maybe he got really hurt once and doesn't
Yeah.
want to get hit again. And so you get to like, to me, I kind of like that coaching mentality.
Mm.
Like, I like kind of giving pointers to newer players, even though I'm not a seasoned veteran, and I'm not a pro, but I've been around the block long enough to know what it feels like to get hit or how to play the game. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
You
Like,
don't have
hey,
to know every little aspect of it. Yeah.
no, and you don't have to be afraid of getting hit. Like, yeah, it's gonna hurt, and yeah, sometimes you'll get hit pretty bad. Like, one of the games I went to, it broke a blood vessel in my arm, and I had a bruise on my arm for 3 weeks. But like,
Oh, Jesus.
those are like the oddballs. That's not the norm. Those are the
Right.
exception. And so it's like, you're gonna get hit, it's gonna sting, and then it's gonna go away. And so like, we're kind of encouraging kids to try those sort of things and push those corners, or to go out of their comfort zone a little bit, and just like, hey, there's a bunker over there. Yeah, but there's a guy down there with a gun. Yeah, if you run really fast, he may not hit you. Like, this isn't real bullets. Like, it's not gonna kill you if you get hit. Like, okay, you get hit, cool. Try something else. Like, try a different approach or whatever. Like, it's okay to, like, obviously you want to get better at the game and take as few hits as possible.
Right.
But I think to get there, you have to really push yourself to get hit a lot and be
Uh huh.
okay taking a BB. Because then once you're like, oh, this is how that feels. Yeah, it doesn't feel great, but I'm not dead. Cool. Now I know I can push myself a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further and try new things, and have those, cool experience. Because I'll be honest, some of the best airsoft experiences I've ever had is not just say fuck it and you just go. Like, I have a video from way back before I actually started like trying to do this legitimately, where I was playing at my buddy's field and I had two 1911s. I think they were Elite Force CO2s. And I was like, okay, there's a bunker down there with some guys in it. They've got us pinned. And I went, cover me. And I just bolted down straight at them and just went boom, 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 slid into the hall because they didn't hit me. And then
Oh,
I
shit.
because it was a safety kill field, like they enforced that rule. I safety killed, like, I just went bang, 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 bang. It was like 8 people, and they all had this horrified look on their face behind all their. I could see through their goggles, these golf ball sized eyes of like, where the hell did this dude come from? Like, he's just here. And it was funny because I slid in and I broke the wall.
Oh, shit.
That was like I slid into it, and like it made this loud noise, and they stopped the game, and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, sorry, John, I broke your wall. Like, and it was just like one of those things of like, I could get hit, but if
Yeah.
I don't get hit, this is gonna be really, really cool. Like,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, it really is like a video game. Like,
yeah,
you just
exactly.
you try out different things, and you're like, okay. So especially indoor stuff where the respawn is not that far away.
Yeah,
So hey, let's try this instead of, because it's more exciting than just standing behind something and waiting, and then they're
yep,
waiting, and then you're waiting, and then everyone's just kind of peeking, and
yep.
like,
Everyone's just
who's gonna
camping.
do something? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I play the outside games at the Rock, I'm more willing to just kind of sit back, because like I don't have the stamina I used to have. So like, I'll wear myself out really quick. So I'll be like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll hang back a little bit, or I'll slow walk it. But the CQB games, like, you can't just sit still. Like, especially at this particular field, everything's very tight quarters, like very narrow
Mm,
hallways, very like lots of little rooms. Like, it's not very open. You
yeah.
have to keep moving. Like, you have to keep moving. You got to keep your head on a swivel, and check those corners, and the whole nine. And so like, I see these kids, they're just like, they got their little pistol and they're camped behind a wall. Like, I'm gonna wait for this guy to come around this corner. I'm like, yeah, he might, but his buddy might come around behind you. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, if you keep moving, it makes it harder for them to predict where you are. And
Right.
so yeah, I don't know. I actually, when I was a long time ago, when I was back in California, my mom suggested this because she knew that like I had all my buddies in high school that liked to play airsoft and everything, but she knew that my younger brother had friends that liked to play airsoft that were new to it that didn't understand like just very basic. Like I'm not former military. I didn't have that honor. I didn't learn all the proper tactics. I know enough to be dangerous, like in the
Yeah.
sense of like, don't do this instead. And so she's like, why don't you host like a little training camp for these guys to come out and like you can kind of teach them the ropes and
Right.
some very basic things. And I was like, I can try. And so yeah, I threw together this little like weekend thing. I just kind of my mom passed it around to her friends, and I had like 18 young kids show up that were like, I want to learn how to play airsoft a little bit better. And so I was like, I'm gonna need some help. So I called in a couple of high school buddies, and we did. We basically it was like a little training camp. It was this really cool little
Yeah.
thing where we kind of teaching them like very basic things of communication and working as a team. And at the very end of the day, like, all right, all 18 of you versus us four. Let's see if you can do it. And they didn't, but they tried their hearts. They tried their hardest, and but it was cool because you could see like the change of like them actually communicating, which was like, okay, I'm pushing left, and like you hold me,
Right.
cover me, is like very basic things that as you get older, you just learn because as adults we just learn some of these things. And
Sure.
but seeing these younger kids kind of just figure it out and learn how to like apply these very basic concepts is pretty cool. And I'm
Well,
always
it takes a
curious
lot of
like where they are
practice.
now. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you put yourself out there to take the knowledge that you had and pass it on. I
Yeah,
think so many people, I don't know if it's because of social media, and we're exposed to all these like real professionals,
yeah,
like ex SEAL,
yeah,
these guys that are spec ops or whatever that start their own YouTube channel or whatever they do, and they teach these classes and stuff. I think a lot of people think, oh, well, you haven't been doing this, that
yeah,
long, or you don't have those kind of
yeah,
credentials or background or experience,
yeah,
and they're really quick to like judge that.
yeah.
Whereas, like, bro, I'm helping the new person that is, so I know, I'm at level 10, they're at level 1 in a
Yep.
video game. I'm teaching them to level 10. Like, so
Yeah.
what? A spec
Yeah.
ops operator is teaching to a level 100,
Yep.
but they're charging X amount. I'm just passing on this information for free. So, it's so many people get so weird about
Yeah.
you don't know what you're talking about. You
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
like, and I like you said, you don't have the military background,
Mhm.
bro. I have a military background, but I don't know fucking modern day tactics.
Sure.
we
Well, and
didn't
that's the
we
thing
didn't
is
learn
tactics change like
CQB.
crazy.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
We were still hunting in the jungle, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I learned.
Yeah.
We didn't learn CQB shit at all. So now everyone that's
Well, and
mount sites. I didn't
yeah.
even know what a mount site was.
I always wanna go to those. But, like Dutch says this all the time in his videos, is that, like, airsoft is great. Airsoft is massive. Airsoft has this huge following. It will die if we don't bring up the next generation beneath us and they bring up the next generation beneath
Yeah,
them. And so
right.
like even like I like there was a great way of saying it of like level 10. Like I'm not a level 100. I will never be a level 100, but I'm
Yeah,
here and I'm perfectly willing and able to share what little I've learned at my level 10 to a level 1 or 2 to try and get them up to that level to enjoy it a little bit more than they already
right.
were. And will they surpass me? Probably. That'd be fine by me. I don't care. I just think it's cool that people are wanting to get into these sorts of things, whether it's airsoft or GTA 5 role play, like we said, or something else. Like
Right.
just everything that is like a hobby or a group or a culture will
Hmm.
die eventually if people aren't brought into that through
Absolutely.
somebody like taking their hand and saying, "Hey, like I've got this little bit of knowledge. Come along and I'll teach you a little bit and I'll share with what I know. And if you surpass me and learn more, that's fantastic. And maybe
Right.
you can teach me something." But you know, I've seen airsoft games in the past. Thankfully not where I play now. Everyone's really like welcome to new kids, but I've been to games where like you have somebody who's not that great or is struggling with the
Uh-huh.
game. And it's not like actively cheating or like trying to cause a problem. They just don't know
Mm.
and they get shamed for it. And they get like I've seen that happen where it's like, "Oh, dude, you suck. You suck at this game," or
Yeah.
you're not very good at this or whatever. And it's like, okay, that may be true. They're never going to get better unless somebody who does know more or is better tries to impart some of that wisdom on them.
Yeah.
And that is doubly true in airsoft because it's an honor based system. You
Yeah.
can't go on to like, yeah, you can go to Google how to get better at airsoft in 10 easy steps. Like, sure, And some of that's very valid of like, hey, get a plate carrier so you're carrying extra ammo, get a gun that
Yeah.
doesn't die on you every 3 seconds. Like, yeah, there's certain things mechanically that you need to get or have at your disposal or practice to just be better in general. But a
Right.
lot of it is just trial and error, being willing to take a hit, being, honorable about calling your hits or airing, not trying to start an argument on the field because somebody's not calling their hit or they're calling you and saying that you're not calling theirs, and everybody wants to get all their blood boiling and start getting into a fight. It's like that solves nothing. Don't do that. Here's the way you should handle it. The refs exist for a reason, like
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So I think it's no matter where you are at it, I think it's very important that people are at least willing to, you know, invite somebody to a game or share some wisdom to a new kid they happen to
Hmm.
spot there. Like I always makes me happy when I see like an experienced player sick a new player and it's like, hey, come with me, we're gonna go push this spot. I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like this, nervous little kid running around with
Right.
their cyber gun that they got from like Big Five or something, and they're running around with the guy who's got like $12,000 worth of gear, and they get to go get some super cool kill because that kid's going back to school and is bragging to his friends about it. You just know he's
For
going, guys,
sure.
I got to go on the weekend and I got to run around. I got to do this thing, and you're never gonna believe it's super cool. And that is the sort of thing that will just like light that fire
Yeah.
in that young player to then invest more time, effort, and energy into it. So the next thing you know, they're going to Milsim events in like 10 years.
Right. And then they're passing on that. Yeah. Just like we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
That is yeah, for sure, man. It's a fun thing. And to get the people at the field that are that coach mentality or
Hmm.
maybe a personality type that is they know the balance. They can read people. They
Yeah.
can read the young player, like what kind of personality type they are, or uh, they know just from observing this person for a couple minutes that, hey, I could say, hey, I could say certain things to them where they're not just gonna hang their head and walk out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, bro, what are you doing? No, no, no. Just stop doing that, and
Yeah.
then let me show you this. Okay,
Yeah.
like how you talk to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you have to be a little more kind of like nice. Like,
Yeah.
hey, here, try this gun and go up over here, and get them excited about doing
Yep.
this. Like that coach mentality, and teaching people. And it seems like most people I've talked with, most fields, most I guess people that, or at least people I've talked with, the experience they have is more a positive one. Even
Yeah.
if they've gotten like, a couple of guys I talked with, I'll ask people, so how was your first game? Do you remember how your first game went when you first got interested? Especially the guys that started later in life,
Yeah.
that were adults already,
Yep.
and they went to an actual field they play. And I was like, how was the first game? They were like, I did shitty, man. Like it sucked. Like I sucked. I had fun, but I got annihilated,
Yeah.
because I didn't know the map. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't pull my, I couldn't shoot right or
Yep.
whatever it was. And so, but they still went back
Yeah.
because, well, they had that, hey, I want to get better kind of thing. And
Mhm.
also the field they were at, the people,
Yep.
the environment was conducive for them to, hey, I want to come back and keep trying to get better, not
Absolutely.
just, hey, you suck, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. And and the same thing holds true whether it's an airsoft game or a gaming community or an online
Right.
session in Call of Duty or whatever, it doesn't matter. If
Yep.
you have enough people start to like be positive and encouraging to other players, that
Uh-huh.
effect is contagious in the same way being toxic and negative is contagious. So like
Right.
if you have a team, like let's say you have a couple people on your team that are just shit talking on the other team and they're like, "Oh man, you suck. I got you. Haha, whatever." And it just if your team's doing really well, that can be like, oh, they really do suck, and it can kind of start to snowball in the exact same way that like if you have a couple players that refuse to be negative even when they get hit, and they're like, no, that was a
Yeah.
good shot, well done, or that was a really good trap that you totally caught me unawares. Um, Not always, but from my experience, I've seen it. That's also contagious. People start to become
Yeah.
more like, oh yeah, I got hit, but like that was a really good hit. Like he did a really good job. Like I'm gonna
Hmm.
give him props for getting that angle on me that I didn't see him or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, there's people who you know you see these videos of the clickbait stuff on YouTube of people who are just toxic for toxicity's sake, or will like mag dump somebody because they said something mean, or whatever. It's like those people that's going to happen, but I feel like
Yeah.
those are the exception, even though it's like all over the internet of like, oh, airsoft cheater did this and get shot in the head or whatever. I feel like
Yeah.
they're like such a small minority compared to like the majority of people who are encouraging and
Right.
positive, and because everyone's there, we're all paying to be there and we're all paying to have a good time. No one wants to pay to be an asshole. Well, I say probably some people want to pay to be an asshole, but I think mostly, I
I
think
know, right?
mostly people want to pay to play to have a good time, and
Yeah, for
others want to
sure.
reciprocate that. So I think that's also why I like airsoft is because unlike like a video game lobby where everybody's shit talking everybody and talking about who slept with whose mom, it's a lot more like you'll have some mild banter, but it's like it's very, it's friendly. It's that camaraderie as you mentioned
It
before
is.
that is a
Yeah.
lot more
Well,
like
you know the difference. You
yeah,
you expect the difference. Like when you're
yep,
in a video game lobby, like you know that whatever somebody says, they're just shit talking. Like you don't
yeah,
take it personal because you know that that person doesn't really know you.
yep,
Like they don't, most of the time if we're playing with randoms. I play a lot of Division 2,
okay,
and we'll do different missions where it's co-op,
yeah,
uh, 4 players against all these NPCs or whatever. So it's if anyone is has headsets on and we're talking shit, I don't know this person, they don't
yeah,
know me, so
yeah,
you don't take it personal. You
yeah.
don't have that mindset like whatever.
Especially as you get
So
older and you start playing like, "Oh, you're still in your mom's basement. Okay. I'm gonna go over here and play my game. You be quiet." Like it's
yeah,
hard to not have that mentality of like,
it
"Oh,
really is.
pat you on the head and send you with your milk and cookies. I'll go back to what I'm
Yeah,
doing."
it's
Like,
okay. It's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you're just
Little
angsty. You'll grow out of it.
just
Like,
yeah, yeah, just
yeah.
run along, little boy. I'll teach
Yeah.
you later, okay?
Yeah.
Like these are the
Yep.
ways of the.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the same thing in that. So that kind of environment, and that's what I've seen as well. Most people I've not most, every single person I've had on here
Mhm.
is about promoting the positive part of the community, and it's just overwhelming number of people that are like that, no matter what part of the country they're in, no matter what part of the world they're in.
Yep.
That is them, and as they're talking, that's why they're on the team that they're on. So their teammates,
Mhm.
their friends that they play with, same thing. There's always that one person, that's going to do that, but it's like you said, it's very very low percentage of people that do that.
Yeah.
And I know that we see that most, that's kind of what get pushed on.
Yeah.
I mean,
It gets
sometimes
the
people do
views. I
like to
can't
see
blame them.
drama.
Like,
Yeah, we
like,
do like to see drama. I mean,
yeah.
I still think it's funny. I just saw one a couple days ago where, indoor field,
Mhm.
somebody's, they're arguing, looked like two teenagers, and the kid, one guy's full autoing him, and the other guy ran out of BBs or something or couldn't shoot back. He
Mhm.
he grabs his own gun
Oh,
by the
no.
barrel and tries to use it as a bat.
Oh. The problem that a lot of these teenagers don't realize is mag dumping somebody is only against field rules. Using your gun as a melee weapon is now against state rules. Like you're in
I
real
like,
trouble the second
bro,
you do that. Like the
you're
second
going to
you went like
jail.
this, you're like, and you're going to
Yes.
jail. Like
No
straight
shit,
to a jail.
right? It's
Yeah.
funny.
But
Hell yeah. Well, speaking of guns and grabbing it by the barrel, you got a couple guns back here and some
oh yeah.
gear.
Yeah.
Show off some of your stuff, man.
Sure. So so this is my new baby. This is my VFC Samurai Edge.
It's
This
beautiful.
was yeah, this is a work in progress, but I'm very happy with it so far. So basically, it's got an Angel Customs hexagon suppressor on the front. It's just a mock.
That
There's
is
no yeah.
awesome.
It's very cool. I am gonna get a longer internal barrel to run out the length of it, so I can actually take advantage of it. Because right now it's just sitting on the end.
Gotcha.
I actually just got this sight combo last night. I'm very excited about this. I got it off of pop
What?
up. So it's a micro dot here. So it's a standard red dot with a kill
Yeah.
flash on it, and then it has a G33 magnifier that's on a flip. So basically,
Whoa.
so right there is a 3 times magnification, and then I can just flick it out of the way and do red dot, which is pretty cool.
Oh
So
my
I'm
God.
really excited to test this out on my field because I've been running a regular red dot for a while, but it's really hard to see distance. Like you can't see necessarily what you're shooting at. And so having something with a little bit of magnification as an option, as opposed to just going and getting like an actual like ACOG or something that's like a
Right.
4 times magnification all the time. I like that I have the option now, and I love how high it sits up off the gun because I wear a full face mask. I
Right.
wear a Virtue mask, so it doesn't fog up, protects my ears, protects my face. But
What is it now?
it's called Virtue. It looks like a dye mask. They're kind of a competitor with dye.
Oh no
Um,
shit.
yeah, they're about the
I,
same
I
price.
had no clue there was another one out there that
Yeah,
okay.
my local field sells them. They love them because they don't fog up. About the same price as a dye, a little bit cheaper. Like the high end dye is like 200 something bucks. The high end Virtue is like 150, 160.
Oh, okay.
But they don't have the ratchet on the back. That's like the biggest difference between them. But the
Oh,
same kind of replaceable lens, the very nice plastic, moldable plastic face guard and cheek guard,
yeah.
has ear panels and everything. I love it. It's the best
So it's
investment ever made.
so the lens or at the top, whatever, it's like vented so it doesn't
Yep.
fog up and shit. Okay.
Yeah. I can grab it and show you if you want. It's actually,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I have.
Whenever you get a chance, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanna ask you about this, dude. That so where did you get those sights?
Oh, so
And
actually,
all, and yeah, finish talking about this
yeah.
because I
Sorry.
want to
Sorry. Sorry.
see.
Sorry.
So what do you got
Um,
your right on your hand guard there, where your
right
left
here.
hand is or your right hand is?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that tape wrapped around the
This
hand
is
guard?
no, it's paracord. I wrapped paracord through the M-lock rail system, so it creates just a nice soft grip. So it's like rope basically. So
Bro, it looks awesome. Yeah, yeah. I
thanks.
have a
Yeah,
bunch
so
of
I just
paracord.
tried that
Okay.
out, so I had like a nice good soft grip with the angled foregrip down here, which this is a Ranger Armory. It's not really an angled grip; it's just kind of like a hand stop sort of grip.
Right.
But it matches the trigger that came stock on the gun because this is how the VFCs come from the
Okay.
Avalon series. Not all of them, but the Samurai Edge series comes with a red trigger. So I was like, okay, let's go with like a red accent. So that's why I got the red suppressor, the red grip, the red trigger. I'm gonna get a red charging handle at some point. So it's just like
Okay.
nice little pops of red, but not all red.
Yes.
Um, but yeah,
It
this
looks
thing.
awesome. I don't
Thank
know
you.
what it is about that paracord, man. In the middle there, it makes it. I think it breaks up the pattern enough to where to me it adds a really cool effect to the aesthetics. I don't know.
Thanks. I really like it. I actually got to test out the paracord at the last game I went to, and it helps a little bit because it adds a little bit of texture because it's ribbed because it's rope, so my gloves
Right.
don't slip it at all, anything like that. But I can also use it barehanded if I want to. I never will. I've been shot in the knuckles enough times. I'll never go barehanded to a game. But
Fuck that shit, bro.
yeah, and then I've got a little tiny little Picatinny up here because I have a reverse cam that is on a mount.
Mm,
So I'll mount that to the side that faces me, and so that mounts right there. But
yep.
otherwise than that, I try to keep it pretty streamlined. I do have the flip up sights. I got a Chinese knockoff of Embus from Magpul. They're not real Magpul, but I'm not going to pay $100 for iron sights. I'll pay 20, but
No.
I won't make it to pay 100. Um,
No. Uh-uh.
but yeah, besides that, it's pretty much bone stock from what it comes at the factory. But to be honest, this is one of the best factory guns I've ever shot. The thing is super snappy. I think it shoots like 26 rounds a second right out of the box with an 11.1.
Damn.
Has a built-in ETU, so it's already set up for lipos. I really really like this frame. I was very surprised by it, but I am very much enjoying it.
Now,
Um,
did you learn how to program your trigger thing? I heard this guy. I was talking with him. He's like, "Yeah, I got this ETU, and it shoots." He said his friend, it'll it'll shoot the pattern he set up. It'll shoot like a song, and I said, "What? Like a song? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, like a beat. It'll shoot like one, and then it'll shoot like three, and then the next pull it'll shoot five or back to
yeah,
one, and like all these different. I'm like, I'm so confused right now. Like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
So this one does have the ability, like I can change semi-automatic to shoot 3 round. I can change
Yeah,
automatic to shoot 3 round or whatever. I just leave it because our fields have a lot of semi-auto games, and having the ability to run full auto to release the pre-cocking just is a handy feature. So
mm,
I don't really mess with it, but it is nice to know that if I wanted to, I could change it and put it on 3 round burst, which I may do at some point, which would just be kind of cool. But
yeah,
I'm even with real steel, I am a huge fan of semi-auto. I love semi-auto just as a functionality in general.
right.
So
Same
full auto
here.
doesn't really get used. Like every once in a while, if I need to lay down some fire, I'll click the fun switch on and I'll run with it. But
Right.
um, I love honestly handguns and semi-auto. I'm a weird guy. Everyone's like, give me the full auto, give me the LMG. I'm like, give me a good 1911 and I'll be a happy camper. Like just all I want is just is handguns. That's why I use handguns more often than not at my local indoor field. Even though I do have a CQB gun I'm working on, but my handguns are my go-to. Like I love my handguns. I've got a Navrich SSP 18 and then two Elite Force 1911s.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
that is actually funny. I bought a used Elite Force 1911 CO2 off the hop up at back in December because I got a screaming deal on it. And then my
Nice.
best friend sent me a birthday present, and it was Elite Force 1911 brand new in the box. And she didn't know that I had the other one already. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, you can never have too many 1911s. I'm not complaining at all. Like, send more. Like, I am all about it. Like, I love them."
Yeah,
So
for real.
yeah. But this is my other gun. This is a pretty basic. This is a G&G Combat Machine SRL.
Love
Um,
those. Yeah.
which this one's gonna be more my Barbie gun. Like, this is the gun I just tinker with and make whatever I want out of it.
Okay.
So, like, it came with a key mod rail system that went to here, and I found this M-LOK at a gun show for 45 bucks, and I was able to retrofit it. So this is actually a real steel rail,
Oh shit.
that I just made work, and so it allows
Yeah.
I don't like key mod, I'm an M-LOK guy. So being able to get one for pretty cheap was nice, and then, this is a real steel, VFG from Magpul that I picked up at work, and then a mock spray. This is just kind of like I want to have fun with it. It's a CQB gun. I'm gonna put a tracer on this at some point so I can run CQB a little bit more fun. Um, but again, it's got a MOSFET built into it, so it's lipo ready and it shoots pretty quick and pretty snappy. This is like a good if you've got a little bit of cash but you're getting back into it. This was like my return to the game gun because I was like
Right.
I'm okay spending 300 something bucks on a gun. I learned all my lessons of bad mistakes to make in airsoft when I was a kid of like you mentioned earlier when you're an adult and you have money. And I was into airsoft when I didn't have money. And so I was like, what can I get on eBay? What can I get on Craigslist or what can I get used? And so like now with adult money, I'm like, I'm gonna go buy new stuff and I'm gonna buy the right stuff instead of going through like 100 different guns that I'll keep breaking or that I have to keep dumping tons of money
For
into.
real.
Like I remember one of the guns I used to have was what was the base? It was an H&K 416, but it was made by SRC, I think was the brand back then.
Huh.
And it was I got it in a trade, and I was like, because the 416 is one of my favorite frames
Gotcha.
of an AR.
That's really popular too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have them now because they weigh a lot because it's just all metal, and so I like
Yeah.
these thinner frames. But I had this 416, and I was obsessed with it. And I was trucking it out, but it kept breaking. It kept stripping gears and stripping pistons, and it was just constant going through parts, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with
Really.
it. I finally took it to a shop because it was like an hour away from my house. Was the nearest pro shop. Took it in,
Yeah.
dropped it off, came back a week and a half later. They charged me like 300 bucks in repair fees, which was ridiculous. Yeah, they socked me. Turns out, and they didn't find this, but I found it after this. The gun was bent.
Oh
The
my
gun was
God.
the whole gun was literally bent slightly sideways, and so because of that, the gearbox was being bent, and so everything was just rubbing
Oh
in it
my
in a bad
God.
ways, and so it was just stripping
Right.
parts out. And even they didn't tell me about it. They didn't spot it or anything. And so I went
What did they
through
charge you $300 for?
because they had to replace all the parts that stripped out. And so it was and plus their service fee of like some god awful amount of money. But
Yeah.
but yeah, and so I
Jesus.
literally I dumped not even putting like a bunch of upgrades, just repairs and keeping it running. I probably put 750 bucks in that gun, which to some people now is
Oh,
like, oh, it's nothing. I'm like, you have to understand, this was a kid who didn't have a job. Like this was money I
oh my
earned from
God.
birthdays and like mowing the lawn and stuff. So I was like spending every dime I had to keep this gun running, and it finally became a hunk of junk. I literally had to throw it away because
Oh, that's
it
so
had no
frustrating.
value, had no value because it was so busted. And
Well, the one common theme I've heard or thing I've heard is, that when I talk to people, they're experienced, they've been in, like like yourself, you've had, gone through some of those experiences. And then I'm like, so what if you're telling a new player, 15-year-old or whatever that's getting
mhm,
into it, doesn't have their own money, but they
yep,
want to, um, what brand or what gun, is a good, and across the board, I've heard G&G
yep, yep,
and G&G, like the CM16s or
yep,
the ARP9s, if they
yep,
want to run smaller and lighter. And that's what we've experienced as well. We have both. We had a CM16. We had I got a ARP9 up here on the wall that my son bought. Things are solid.
yeah,
Their gearboxes, whatever it is. Like now, these guys, my son Chris, who bought the ARP9, he doesn't like taking the guns apart like right
yeah,
away. When
yeah,
now their friend JP, as soon as he buys something, within the same day,
yeah.
it's all apart, and he's
Uh,
upgrading this and upgrading that, and it usually ends up bad because he doesn't shim the gears right. He doesn't
yeah.
whatever it is,
Yep,
and
that was me when I was younger, and I don't do it anymore. If it works out of the
yeah.
box, it's gonna work until it doesn't work, and then I'll fix it. Like,
Right, exactly. And
yeah,
that's, yeah. So, okay.
yeah, yeah. Because like I said, I went to my local shop. I went to my buddy
That's
basically
got to
and
be
said, "Hey,
disappointing though, bro. Like
oh yeah,
when you're young like that and you go,
hmm
okay, there's a problem, I'm going to take it in. Okay, these guys know what they're doing.
yep."
And then you get this huge bill.
So to make that worse, basically, I took it in, I picked it up. I was like socked with this bill. I was like, I was not expecting to pay this much money, but
Mhm.
here I don't have a choice. Here you go.
Yeah.
I had, a couple days after that, I had this game that I had been working so back before I knew milsims and events and all sort of stuff existed, I was the event hoster of our group. I was the guy that would figure
Oh,
out, some sort of, a tax op essentially of what we were gonna be doing, and
right.
I'd find a property and everything, and I would organize the event. And so I had
Okay.
organized this, to us, rather large event. We're talking like a bunch of high school students, and I had a
Sure.
50-person event that I arranged out at my buddy's
Damn.
property. Yeah. He had 10 acres of property that was like golden airsoft property. It was all in fenced in, so we knew where boundaries were. Had little
Nice.
valleys, had rocks, had open fields, had trees. I mean, little creeks. It was perfect.
Oh my
And
God, that's awesome.
so went out to his property, and it was this really cool event that I came up with on my own like like
Scenario and
campaign and scenario and everything. And I was excited because this was the first time I was going to get to use my new gun, or fixed gun, I should say. So I was all excited to take it out there,
yeah.
and I finally got after a little bit, I got into an engagement and fired about 5 rounds, and then it went and
Oh
it stripped
God.
and literally had fired 5 rounds and stripped the gear again after I had
Ah,
just paid, I don't remember how much money to get it fixed that time, and I was just like, "I just got this fixed." And I had some buddies that were, like, kinda tech savvy, and they're
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I think this such and such just broke based on what I'm hearing." And I'm like, "And you can't fix it, like, I don't have any of my tech
Uh-uh.
like, you can't do that out there in the field." And
No.
so, yeah, so I had to, I think I borrowed a buddy's gun for the day or something, but yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
that was one of those things where from that point forward, because I got that gun used. So from that point forward, I was like, I will no longer purchase used guns as a primary. I am fine to buy
Right.
like boneyard stuff now and like, Frankenstein it or whatever, because I know enough now I can at least kind of figure something out or work with my tech buddy to get something working. But I'm never gonna go, I need a new primary. Craigslist, here we come. No, it's not gonna happen that way. Like I don't trust used guns anymore in that
Uh-uh.
regard. They're just too
Well, the
dangerous.
other thing too is it's like when you have that, you don't know what variable,
Mhm.
like you're not starting from zero,
Yeah, you're not starting
right?
from 0, yeah. Yep,
Yeah, so it's very difficult to, it's like you have to reverse engineer.
yep,
Like we don't know what somebody else did to this gun.
yep.
Like you said, it was bent, slightly, like you don't know. So
Well,
if
and
you
it was
start with a
bent so
brand new
slightly,
one,
yeah, it was bent so slightly that you visually couldn't really tell unless you,
yeah,
like, were looking for it, essentially. And I think
right.
it was my buddy, because I gave it to my buddy to tech, and he's the one who said, "Are you aware your gun's bent?" And I went, "Excuse me?" I ended up going to his house, and he showed me. It was literally bent slightly, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, "Didn't you take this to that pro shop?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How do they not catch this?" I'm like, "You're asking me? I just paid them a couple $100 for this thing."
Like you
Like,
don't know, like you
yeah.
drop it off and you pick it up.
Exactly, yeah, so it definitely sucks as, like,
Yeah,
for younger kids in that regard, but at the same thing, like, guns aren't cheap anymore. Good starting
right.
guns used to be $150 back when I played, and now this thing is what I would call a good starter gun. It was 300. So it's like,
Yep.
not to say you can't get something cheaper, but airsoft is the coup de grace of you get what you pay for. And
It really is.
if you're gonna pay $100, you're gonna get $100 gun that's probably gonna last you one game. Or you
Yeah,
might get lucky, it might last you a little bit longer, but
right.
if you want a gun that's something that you can rely on for multiple games as well as like upgrade where needed or have compatibility with parts, you're probably going to pay 2 or 300 bucks for a gun. And that's really hard
Mhm.
for a lot of kids because they don't have jobs, or if they do, they've got
Yeah,
like, if they're going to, going into college, they've got books they got to buy, or they're in high school, they probably have to pay for their, car repair or something. Like
right.
it's a very expensive hobby,
It
unfortunately.
really is. When we started our channel, these guys, I didn't know any of this stuff either when we first started, and these guys, Chris and Coltrane and JP, they're talking like, no, you need to, if somebody wants to start out, they need to, if they want to have a good experience,
Yeah.
they want to do this, this, and this, and I criticized them the whole time.
Mm.
I was like, no, they don't. You can buy a cheap gun and have fun, and I didn't, because I didn't
Yeah.
know. I was
Yeah.
naive. I was ignorant, and so they knew right away because they were the ones going out playing.
Hmm.
I was just sitting there editing videos,
Yeah.
and so they're talking with people. They're on the field where they see these things happen, and it happens to them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't have to spend $500 to do this and that. Like, yeah, yeah, you do.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
For a mill sim, like
Yeah.
they have to get all the gear, they have to get,
Oh,
so
yeah, I didn't, like, comprehend how expensive milsims were until I was watching one of, I think it was, well, the first one was Swamp's video where him and Nash were packing up to go to an event,
oh,
and they had all
hmm,
their stuff laid out on the floor, and I'm like, "Oh, boy." Like, that was not what I was expecting. And then there was a video where I think it was Jet was going through, like, a list of common things that are needed for like, most milsims. I was
hmm,
like, Yeah, this isn't happening anytime soon. Like I've got because again, I'm starting from the ground up. Like because I
Exactly.
sold all of my old gear. Like I'm literally like I had first time ever I had to walk in and say, Lynn, do you have any dead rags? Because like I didn't even have a dead rag anymore. So like I literally had to purchase. Like if you think, oh, you need this for airsoft, it's either on a shopping list or I've had to go buy it already.
Yeah.
Um, just to get things up and like I had sold all my good eye protection that I had these really nice ESS goggles for years. I sold those. I had face masks and I had gloves and I sold everything
Right.
for pennies on the dollar. It still hurts to talk about it, um, but yeah, like it's
We'll avoid that. It's okay.
yeah, but it's cool because like starting over, it doesn't feel like I'm like working with what I got. I get to pick what I want,
Yeah.
and again, having adult money helps. Of like, oh, I need this
Well, for
part.
sure.
I'll just
Well,
buy the part.
also the experience.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know, and you watch videos like you're kind of researching and
yeah,
you're learning as you watch something and in your own experience. Especially you had that experience with spending a lot on a gun that
yeah,
was you're like, no, okay, I'm
yeah.
not doing that anymore. So you're not going on to hop up and buying a $50 used gun
No,
to get back out. Like,
yeah,
okay, I'm not going to do that. So it does take longer because you're not going to
yeah,
drop. I mean, if you really wanted to get milsim ready from the ground, starting from zero,
yeah.
you're going to drop $800 to $900, maybe a thousand
Easy.
bucks with helmet, with comms, with
Yep,
gun, with supplies, with so BBs and all,
yep,
batteries, whatever the fuck, like all this
yeah.
shit, plate carrier, magazines.
Yep. It's an extensive list, and so it's like that's why I was end of last year. I was like, oh, I have these plans for what I want to do in 2023, and then I start seeing like the shopping list. I'm like, maybe this is a 2024 goal at this point because like I need to. I'm trying to like build the base up over time, and so I'm trying to
Yeah,
get a nice little. I'm also trying to have a selection of like I'm not trying to build like a massive C7 Viper level of like collection, but
right.
having a couple different primaries I can choose between or have a backup if my gun goes down, having some sidearms I can play with or whatever. Like having some options, and then also I do want to build like a NATO kit versus like a Russian kit. So
Yeah.
I have options, but I'm like, there's no way I can do that in 1 year. There's just no way. This is
No.
gonna be a next year thing. But I do hope to at least go to like I'm trying to convince myself to go to Rev. Not that I don't want to go. It's getting there is going to be a pain in the butt
Oh,
because
it's a huge commitment.
it's a 17-hour drive or it's a 5-hour
Or
flight,
flight,
and I don't. I've never traveled with airsoft gear before, and I'm
right?
nervous to try that because of like it's a gun. Like for lack of a better term, it's still
Hmm.
technically perceived as a firearm, and it's like getting all that with a flight. It just makes me nervous. I'm not saying I won't do it or I can't do it. It's just I'm
Yeah.
nervous about trying it. Like that's
Yeah,
knowing my
that's what
luck
I've
can go
heard.
wrong.
Well, I guess I mean, there's a lot of airsofters that travel, that fly,
Yeah.
and I guess their stuff's fine. So I'm sure there's some guidelines
There
online.
is.
I haven't actually looked it up, like from any of the big YouTubers or any big
Yeah,
airsofters that travel. But I'll bet they put out some information like,
they do.
how to. Now, I've heard, a couple different options like shipping your stuff to somebody that's there,
Yeah.
that's local that's going to that event or whatever. But
That
um,
would be the safer route to go for sure,
yeah,
but
definitely.
that also requires that, um sorry, I thought my phone was going off. That requires that you know somebody there, but then I used to work in shipping, and I know things happen and get delayed, and it's like, there'd be nothing worse than going, "Okay, I'm gonna ship my stuff out there, and the event's on Saturday, it'll get there Friday," and Friday rolls around, "Oh, the train derailed on the way out
Yep.
there, and your stuff's not gonna
No
get there till
shit.
Tuesday," and you're like, "Great, I just paid for a flight, and now I'm in Virginia, and all my gear's on a truck in, Kentucky, like, I'm fantastic." So,
Oh my God, for
yeah.
real.
Yeah, that would just, ugh, that I mean, 'cause that
Well,
literally I just
you would just play the event with rentals. I mean,
either that or I'd go, "Well, that's why I have credit cards. Swamp, sell me a new gun." Like,
exactly.
but yeah, I mean, I can still show you that mask if you want. Besides that, I think the
Absolutely. I
gear that I
want to
got,
see
yeah.
that. Yep,
Grab it
for
real quick.
sure.
So yeah, basically, it's basically a dye mask. I mean, I've actually been mistaken on the field. Like, if people yell at me, "Dye mask guy," and I'm like, I don't have a dye mask, but I assume you're talking to me.
Yeah,
But yeah, it looks like a dye mask. So it's got like a nice reflective lens. So it's like a big gigantic sunglass.
that's cool.
It's very streamlined, so it doesn't like sit super wide like those old Lancer tactical masks. It's
Yeah.
very like form fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's got pretty good like thickness inside, so the BBs like when they hit, you don't still feel them.
Right.
Um, and then they make HK Army is a paintball company, and they make these little camera mounts for dye masks, but they're compatible with these things. And so that's a CNC mount that is specific for GoPro that fits on this thing. So my GoPro attaches straight to this instead of on a headband,
Oh, that's
which is
awesome.
super like convenient, and it makes things so much easier instead of having a mask and then a strap and then a hat and also it's just boop, put this
Yeah,
on and done.
exactly.
But it doesn't have the ratchet like dye masks have.
No,
It's
but
just
that
a
strap
CNC
on the
strap.
back is so that padding is that comes with the
Yeah.
that's how built. Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, this is how they come. And then these lenses, they're buckled in basically with these gigantic metal buckles like in here.
Yeah.
Can't really see because it's dark. But actually I can do this. Here we go. In here is a metal buckle basically, and you can
Okay.
essentially you can basically buy new lenses when these get all damaged and pop these out and pop a new one in.
Oh, that's nice.
So they're more like speed soft CQB masks. Like you don't really see like milsimmers running around with these, but I've been shot in the face enough times that I'm kind of tired of having welts on my face, so or
Bro.
getting like close to teeth shot. So
Uh,
plus when I got back in, so as you can see, I wear glasses. I did just get contacts, which make playing way more comfortable. But these are comfortable with my glasses. I can wear them together, and these
right.
don't fog up at all. Like
Dude, that's so
I've
nice.
played in this a couple times now, and one day we were playing. It was really really hot, and so we were hot and sweating around. Didn't fog up. I've played in the morning when it's 40 degrees out, and I'm breathing heavy, and it's like fog. You know, like obviously your breath's coming out or whatever. Didn't
Yeah.
fog up either. It's
That is
honestly the
awesome.
fact that yeah, just because of those, it's worth the investment like immediately, and I do not regret it at all.
Well,
So
plus that thing looks cool as hell. I
yeah, it
think
does kind of look cool.
the visor part on that is a little bigger than the dye
The
mask. I don't know.
I think it's about the same
Is
size.
it?
It looks
Okay.
kind of big right here, but I think these are a little bit wider than dye masks. Like they feel a little bit wider, but I'm not sure. I've never worn a dye mask,
It
but
looks cool as shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'm gonna. This has been hit enough times. It's gonna need a replacement probably in the next couple of months. I'm gonna get a blue one next time so it matches my logo. But
Oh, that's
um,
cool.
yeah, which you can kind of see the logo down. I finally got patches made. You can see it right there.
Yeah, get your what is that? Your plate carrier?
Yeah, this is my very very old plate carrier that needs to be replaced because it's the dumbest design in the history of man. It's a cummerbund
How
that has a
dare you?
zipper.
Don't put that down.
Well, it has a zipper, and so the zip you have to wrap each side of the cummerbund and then pull the zipper up.
Mm.
Never have I struggled with something so menial as this dumb zipper when I'm trying to pull it up before a game, and it's just a pain in the butt. But it is comfortable, and it's I don't even know the brand. I got it. This is something I got in a trade way back when. But it's got a hydration pack on the back, so I've got my water with me at all times, and I've got my logo back here so people can see me from the rear, and then
Yeah, how'd you
um,
come up with your logo?
so like I said, I'm a graphic designer, and so I like to just play around with designs,
Yeah.
and
It's like
so
a modern yin and yang kind
something
of.
like that. It's an N. It's supposed to be the N for neon, basically.
Oh, right, right.
And so because so Neon Geek is my gamer title, and that's been that for years. That's what I is on Twitch, and that's what it is to all of my gamer friends. But
Oh, okay.
all of my friends that I know well just shortened to Neon. They started calling me Neon years ago, and that's
Yeah.
I now respond to Neon probably more quickly than I'll respond to my own actual name, just because I'm so
Yeah,
used
no
to hearing
shit.
it. And so I was like,
Okay.
I wanted to get back into airsoft, and you have a call sign usually when you get back into airsoft. And I used to go by
Right.
Blackjack. I used to go by Jericho, and I'm
Why
like,
those?
I'm sorry.
Why those?
Blackjack because I just liked it because at the time, my buddies and I were all coming up with our airsoft call signs, and we wanted something that was like a two-word name. So like, one of them was Pack Night, one of them was something else, I can't remember. And so it was like a two-word name, and so I'm like Blackjack, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so I ran with that for a while, and then Jericho's just I like the show Jericho, and the name Jericho just sounds really cool and intimidating.
Right.
Again, we're talking about when I was like 18, 19, 20. Like I was
Sure.
younger, and but when I was getting back into it, I'm like, why reinvent the wheel? I have a call sign. It's kind of unique. I'll just go by Neon. And that's, I literally already respond to that. So I just swapped it back over to run with Neon again. And I was like, I could technically use my gaming logo, but my gaming logo is for Neon Geek. It literally is an NG. And so like that doesn't really
Okay.
work. And it's like, I'll just come up with something new. Which as a graphic designer, I don't need an excuse to come up with a new graphic. I just do it for fun. So, um,
Right.
which is funny because now with this new logo and this new art, I actually some of my friends are like, I like your new art more than your old art. You should just rebrand all your stuff to this. And I was like, I could, but
Yeah.
I but
Now,
yeah, I
why
wanted
neon?
something that was. I'm sorry.
Did you come up with neon?
Yeah, so Neon Geek was my, like I said, my gamer tag, and I came up with
Okay.
that when I was rebranding my gaming. Actually, what was it? When did it start? It was started a long time ago. I remember what it was now. I was changing my I needed a gamer tag for playing with some buddies online.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what I used to be at the time. I've gone through so many gamer tags. I can't remember what I was at the time. And we've all had different usernames throughout the years.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what I was at the time, but I wanted a new one that was more me, that actually made more sense to who I was as a person and fit me. And I'm a huge geek, as you can tell by the stuff on my back wall and what I'm talking about. And I love neon, just like the neon colors and neon lights. Like, to me, there's just something cozy about seeing like a video of like driving down the Vegas Strip with all the
Yeah.
neon up or something, or like the old classic 50s neon. I'm all about that.
Right.
So I just plugged them together and went, yeah, neon geek, that works.
That
Stuck
is
with it and
cool.
ran with it. And so then, as I said, all my buddies that I started gaming with just started shortening it to Neon because it's just quicker than saying Neon Geek.
Right.
And
It is.
I just I just stuck with it and ran with it. So yeah, so now like I'd say all my entire social circle at this point knows me as Neon instead of my actual name at this point, just because that's what everyone calls me. So
For sure.
I also thought it was kind of a cool, unique airsoft call sign because everybody's like, you know, like um,
Tactical.
bishop or you know something that's like very tactical and like operator esque, and it's like that's
Yeah.
cool. But there's something kind of fun about having a unique call sign that
Oh,
doesn't
for
necessarily
sure, man.
feel like it came out of a Michael Bay movie.
No,
So yeah,
exactly.
so it's like, and there's nothing wrong with those. Like, I think they're cool, but like to me, like Dutch the Hooligan as a name is fun
Yeah.
and unique, and like Dutch obviously is his call sign, which just feels very tactical. But like the Hooligan, like the whole vibe behind it,
Yep.
or like C7 Viper just sounds kind of silly-ish, kind of because it's got the C7 in front of it.
Yeah.
I like that creative vibe behind it, so I was like, yeah, we'll run with neon. I think that fits, and that's cool. So,
Yeah.
um,
Exactly.
just and then
Well,
so yeah,
speaking
once
of
I
those neon signs and stuff,
mhm,
like in videos, I just saw this video. I think it was this morning. I was scrolling through like reels and stuff, Instagram reels,
mhm,
and I follow a lot of artsy kind of like filmography
yeah,
or videography kind of shit, whatever. And so I'm always looking for. I've been very interested since we started our YouTube channel, like different ways to shoot things,
yeah,
to film things or whatever. And there was this guy had done a short reel of filming someone walking down different clips of someone walking through like what looked like to be maybe like a Asian town like Tokyo type of thing,
okay,
where they had a lot of these shops still had the
yeah,
Japanese kanji in neon signs
yeah,
or
uh-huh,
neon
yep,
lights, and and it was dark and rainy, so
oh yeah,
the only lighting was from these neon signs that were
yep.
bright orange and yellow and blue, and it was just a really really cool effect,
Yep, that is my vibe. I love that. Like all of the branding on my Twitch channel for the longest time, and still kind of is that
Yeah.
like darker vibe that's being illuminated by neon. I've only since it's not recently, but the last change that I did is like it's like a brick wall, and like the stream starting screen is written in neon and it like flickers and stuff like that. And so
Oh, that's cool.
that sort of vibe has always been like,
Uh-huh.
which is funny because I don't have a single piece of neon in my entire apartment, even though I wish I did.
Dude,
But
I
yeah,
would love to have a neon like this
yeah,
my trifecta
yes.
logo.
Yeah.
I would
There's
love to
companies that'll
have
do
that
it.
in neon. Really?
Yeah, it depends. There's companies that'll
I have
do
to
it in
look it up.
traditional there's companies that do it in traditional neon, and it's an
Okay.
arm and a leg, but you can also get them in LED lights that look like neon, and you can get it
Really?
much yeah, they take a piece of plexiglass as the background, and then they put the lights on it in whatever design you want, and they're not that expensive. Like, you can get,
Oh, that'd be cool.
um okay, I was looking into one that was like a 2 by 2 because my logo
Mhm.
is like a it's also it's another hexagon,
Yeah.
and, it was, like, about that big, and they wanted like 100 something bucks to make it, I think.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Yeah, and again, it's LED lights, not neon, so it's not super power consuming either. It's very, cost efficient.
Right.
So I would love to have something like that on this back wall. Like either like replace my Hyrulean shield here or something
I
with
was gonna
it,
say,
but
what is that shield right there? Yeah.
it's like a flag. It's like a flag. My sister got it for me for Christmas a few years ago because she knew I loved video games, and so
Now,
it's the Hyrulean shield from Zelda.
oh,
You
from
can
Zelda, right?
yeah, you can
Okay. I
kind
knew
of
I
see it if I
recognized the.
yeah if I do that, you can
Okay.
kind of see it a
Okay.
little bit better. But
Yeah, it looks awesome.
yeah, it looks a lot cooler in video because in real life it's like a flag, wave around and everything. But it looks like I have an actual shield on my wall, but I don't.
Right.
But
Hell yeah.
yeah, so
Cool, man. So, yeah, dude, it's been great talking with you and getting to meet
likewise.
you. Yeah.
Putting this away here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
damage
So
the
that
lens.
comes with, does that come with that bag as well?
It does, yeah, and actually, when I bought it, my, Lynn is John's wife, and so I know her just as well as I know John, and, I bought it, and she looked at me and said, "Keep it in the bag or you'll regret it." And I was like, "Okay." And so, like, I always keep it in the bag now, 1, because I wanna protect it, but 2, I'm scared of Lynn. So so,
You're in
uh,
big trouble, mister.
yeah,
If you
so,
take
yeah,
it out of
but
the bag.
yeah, so, no, it comes with the bag, it comes with, the foam thing on the back,
Yeah.
um, it has instructions on how, because basically when you get it, it has a clear film on the inside to
Mm.
protect it, and so it has instructions on how to remove the lens, remove the film, and then put it back so you can learn how to swap the lenses
Oh,
out because there's kind of a
nice.
process to it, but,
Hmm.
it doesn't require, like, a whole bunch of special tools to swap the lenses out. So in theory, you could actually have, like, a stockpile of lenses and just swap them out as needed if you wanted to.
Oh, that's cool. Now, what do
Yeah.
the lenses run for that? Like, how much are their lenses?
I
Do you know?
haven't looked, but I think it was, I wanted to say 50 or $60 a lens, I think.
Okay.
Somewhere in that, it might be more, it might be less. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
But what's cool is, like, so that's like a big gigantic sunglass in that red and
Right.
orange. They have other colors, but then you also can get just like clear, so there's
Hmm.
no like sort of like sunglasses effect.
Yeah.
And or you can get like a smoked lens, so it's just kind of a little bit darker. So
Those
they
are
have
cool.
different options depending on what you want to do with it, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool. So
You know those shooting glasses? Well, you do real steel as well. You
mhm.
know those shooting glasses that are I don't know what the name is for them, but the yellow. So it
Yeah,
looks yellow,
yeah,
but it's like it's almost works like a sunglass when you're outside.
yeah.
It blocks the, you don't have to
The,
squint when you're out in the sun, but
mhm.
it also brightens things up.
Yep. I forget what they call it, but yeah, it's a
I
really
do too.
popular lens because a lot of sites will use that same yellow film
Yes.
because it allows a clearer sight picture. For
Uh-huh.
some, I don't know why. I don't understand
I don't
the
either.
science behind it, but it works.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of it because it just yellow tints everything, but
Right.
I understand the logic behind it. But this is
Oh
super
yeah.
nice because, like, when we were out at the field, not this last Sunday, but this, when was it, last Sunday, the Sunday before that, was last Sunday. It was super bright because it was a clear blue sky, and so we got there, 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's just beaming in on us, and everyone's like squinting, and I'm like, I don't have to do that. I have this big ass pair of sunglasses. I'm golden, and so like,
Bro, for real.
we're fighting into the sun, and I'm like, I don't have to. I mean, it's not like wearing a nice pair of Oakleys or something, but it's close, and so
Yeah.
it helps cut down on that glare really bad, those really bad glares, and yeah, it's handy. Inside, it's a little bit weird because like it's like wearing sunglasses inside, so
Yeah.
it's everything's a little bit darker, but it's not too bad. It's not super dark, so
Right. Your
yeah,
eyes adjust pretty quick. Yeah.
yeah. But it's funny because like I'm wearing his CQB Speed Soft mask, and I don't play Speed QB. That is not my vibe. So I'm like wearing the gear for it and not playing it.
Hell yeah, man. Neon, it is really cool meeting you, talking with you. Thank you so much for being on, bro.
Likewise, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I definitely enjoyed talking to you. I know.
I am very, very interested in this GTA
Well,
server thing. I mean, that sounds fucking amazing. 'Cause I'm a little burned out on the games I'm playing, and yeah, so
I sent you that link. You're welcome to check it out. Or
okay,
if you ever like want to just ask questions, my DMs are open. I'm always happy to talk about it. But yeah, and if you ever just want to like sit and ask questions, I'm also happy to do that. It's a lot of fun. It's very unique. If you like telling stories and you want something that's more like I said, that role play instead of just
yeah,
like action, 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 or just silly zany antics. That's the vibe you want to go with right there, and it's a lot of
for
fun. It's
sure.
it's cool too if you're already familiar with the GTA world, but you're not like like if you play GTA, like the little lines you hear the civilians just say to each other over the phone or whatever.
Yep,
That same thing exists in the 5M universe, but imagining you interacting with that person. Like, let's say somebody's there. Like, what I mean by that is like the person says, "Oh, like, dude, I'm gonna be owing all this much money to the bank or whatever." Like, and like in GT Online, you don't even think about it. You just drive off and do your thing.
right,
But like, you could treat that as an opportunity to interact with that person. Like, obviously, it's an NPC; they're not really gonna interact back per se. But
yeah,
like, you can kind of turn that into a little silly moment or a story moment or whatever, and then maybe you aggravate them, and so they turn around, they square up with you, and it turns into a fight, and the cops get called, and
right,
you're like, what's going on? Like, well, he was shit talking me. And it's like, well, and then the person runs off, and then the cops now arrest you for assault or something. Like, it can turn into this whole thing because you
right.
decided to interact with the already immersive environment that is, Los Santos. So, yeah,
Oh my God, that's cool.
it
Yes,
puts a new lens on GTA 5. Like, you see it in a whole different way. It's
yeah,
really cool. But
yeah.
yeah,
It's way more immersive.
oh
It
yeah,
draws you
100%.
into everything that's going on,
Yep.
that they put into it.
Well, and you discover the map is a lot bigger than you think because in GTA 5 you're zipping around it really fast and you're
Right.
going to like these hot spots. But in
Yep.
5M, let's say your character needs to do a drug deal. You need to find a shady back alley to do a drug deal in. You would be shocked at how many cool little hidey holes this map just
Yeah,
natively
no
has built
shit,
into it
right?
that you would never notice unless you were doing some of these weird sort of things you'd be doing in roleplay. Like there's a lot of cool little just Easter eggs and hidden things around the map that you just don't find unless you're kind of looking for them, which is really fun.
Exactly. Well, it's like it's what is that thing that happens when you never notice, I think the biggest common thing is a certain type of car.
Yeah.
Like you never even think about a certain type of car. You don't notice them on the road, and
Yep.
then someone said, someone or yourself is interested in that car,
Yep.
and then or you bought one, and
Yep.
now all of a
Now
sudden
you see 'em
there's a
everywhere.
hundred of them
Yep.
everywhere.
It
You're
happened
like,
to me.
no, they were always there.
Yep.
You just didn't.
Yeah, the same thing, the exact same thing happened to me. I bought a new, Jeep Cherokee back in not new, but I bought a Jeep Cherokee back in June,
Yeah.
and, right when the time I was thinking about buying it, same exact thing. I was like, "Have I ever seen those around?" And then I realized, "Oh, everyone in this town owns a Jeep Cherokee. Okay, cool, fine, fantastic." Like
I don't know why that's such a thing. It's so
yeah.
weird how you know what it does to me. It makes me realize how oblivious we are
Oh,
to our
right? Absolutely.
surroundings.
Yeah, it's that white noise that's around me
Yes.
that you tune out, and it actually for me, in kind of a weird way, it gives me like a whole new appreciation for people of like the special forces or secret services or special like intelligence agencies, like
Yeah.
of how their mind works because they're
No
trained
shit.
to counter that. Like they're
Yep.
trained to pay attention to everything. So like you're driving, and they go, "Hey, what was the color of that blue car back there? And what was the license plate?" And you go, "What blue car?" And they go, "Oh, it was here's the license plate, and the driver was wearing this." And then their
Bro.
brain works on a different level. It's
Yes.
crazy.
You walk
I
into like the ones like in shows and movies where
yeah.
you walk into a restaurant, you sit down. Okay, there were three people we passed back here. What were they,
Yep.
sitting? What were they wearing? What like uh TMI, I don't know. My brain's gonna explode. Can I just
Yeah.
have a beer? I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, "Wait, there were 3 people back there? What?" Like, yeah, like, it's a whole different I have a
Uh,
buddy that was a part of that world, that I, knew back in California, and yeah, his super nice guy, and it wasn't like he was, like, super gung ho or anything, but his brain just
yeah.
worked differently, and it is like I said, I have a new respect for it because like, you have these moments you're like, "Yeah, I was oblivious because I missed all of this." Like,
No shit, bro.
yeah,
For real.
yeah,
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much again, man. I appreciate it.
of
And
course.
spending your afternoon on a Saturday hanging out. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was
Really
a lot of
fun.
fun. Thank you very much, and, I look forward to seeing more of your podcasts. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
And I look forward to your YouTube channel growing. In
Mhm.
fact, tell everybody where all your stuff can be found.
So it is youtube.com and then the tag is neon_airsoft. So
Okay.
it's pretty easy to find. It's the same logo, that green and bluish logo. I only have a couple videos up right now, so you're not looking for a whole lot at the moment. I'm starting out
Oh, that's
fresh.
fine.
So yeah,
And then your Instagram. Do you have an Instagram as well that
I
you are
do.
doing for Airsoft? Okay.
Yes, it's neon.airsoft on Instagram. So that'll be just I still have to get into the whole concept of doing like YouTube shorts or Instagram reels, but
Right.
I will post pictures and things on there, and I'll probably be doing a lot more live streaming once I get everything going because I'm so accustomed to that. So I want
Yeah.
to try and get into a habit of doing live streams of like reviews or unboxings or things like that, and then just turning them into a recording because my post
Well,
editing skills are
yeah.
lacking.
Speaking of the Twitch or the streaming thing, what's your Twitch as well? I can put
Uh,
that on here too.
my Twitch is twitch.tv/neongeek_,
Gotcha.
because the other one was taken. But that one is
Damn it.
yeah, that is predominantly GTA 5 roleplay streams, some Call of Duty streams, and then whatever game I feel like playing that day. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
You too.